1 game's over 500, and we're set for game 2 of the series. Here from Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. The Cubs victorious in game 1 last night. Behind Kerry Wood's gem, the Cubs won by a 5-3 score. Tonight, Carlos Zambrano will have this lineup supporting him in game 2. Corey Patterson and Nomar Garciaparra first and second in the Dusty Baker lineup. Moises Alou hits third with Sammy Sosa, the cleanup man. Aramis Ramirez is at third base. Derek Lee hit a cannon shot here last night. He'll hit 6th over at first base with former Rocky Todd Walker 7th. Michael Barrett behind the plate hitting 8th, and Carlos Zambrano will pitch in bat 9th.
Here's a look at Jamie Wright on for his 3rd start. This is his 2nd go-around with the Rockies. In fact, he was their #1 draft choice in their first draft, the 28th pick overall. They thought he's a big, strong man, that he would have a wonderful career with him. It hasn't worked out quite as he would like. He throws everything hard at this point, and when he's not hitting his spots, he has some problems. He's got a hard slider. He's given up 15 hits in 8 1/3 innings, and it doesn't look to be any easier against the Cubs tonight. This is a lineup that's starting to come together and hit the baseball.
And it all starts with Corey Patterson, who went 1 for 5 in the series opener last night. Jamie Wright, who started the year in the Cubs camp in Mesa, Arizona. When the Cubs signed Greg Maddux, Wright was allowed to seek employment elsewhere. He went to the Royals organization, where he was 8-6 at their AAA affiliate. And that ball off the glove of Todd Helton, a good start. Patterson around first has at least 2. Burnitz has a very strong arm, and that's the way the game begins. A base hit for Corey Patterson leading off here in Denver.
There's going to be a problem with Wright, and that problem is that Wright doesn't change speeds. If he doesn't change speeds against the Cubs, they're going to hit him very well. Corey Patterson content to coast into second base. A great start to the evening. You might remember early fireworks last night. Then both teams kind of settled down, and both pitchers, Jeff Fassero and Kerry Wood, dominated.
We've worked together a long time. I can't remember 7 consecutive scoreless innings in this ballpark ever. And that's what we saw last night.
I've seen one team or another do it. I don't believe I've seen 2 teams do it in the same game.
Pretty remarkable. Both Fassero and Kerry Wood pitched real well after the first 2 innings. So Nomar digs in with Patterson at second. And that one driven down the right field line. Really enjoyed your interview with Nomar before the game tonight.
Well, he seems to be a very engaging fellow, and you know, he's been in a lot of postseason play over the course of his career. He, at least for one shot, tried to take it to right field. He knows the importance of moving along Patterson.
1-1 count. Another foul ball to the right side. I thought what was interesting too, when you and he were talking about his hitting style, the way he labeled himself somewhat belies the statistics that he's accrued in his young major league career.
Well, he called himself a free swinger, and yet when you look, he's averaging no more than about 60 strikeouts per season.
Two-strike pitch is skied into center field. Let's see if Patterson thinks about tagging. There's the catch. He will not advance, and Wilson threw a perfect strike to third. So Garciaparra lines out. Patterson still at second with 1 out for Moises Alou.
And Corey's telling Aaron Miles, well, I didn't know he could throw like that. But wisely, he did go back to the bag. It was right at Wilson, who's just back after some knee surgery. And we've heard that Wilson still goes to his right very well, sometimes because he has a brace on the left knee. He has some problems on ground balls in right center. And somewhat surprisingly, they're playing Moises Alou as an off-field hitter in the outfield.
Which would lead you to believe Wright will pitch him how?
Well, they'd pitch him away, but Moises is a dead pull hitter.
Well, let's see if Alou can foil the plans of the Colorados here in the first inning. Moises a couple of hits last night.
Earlier in the season, Holiday had some problems defensively. The Cubs might try to exploit that in left field.
Line drive left field, right at Holiday. An adventurous track to the ball, but he makes the play. Alou hit a rope, but he's retired. 2 outs.
Moises couldn't have hit it any harder. He loves the first pitch in the zone. but Holliday drifted to his left and made the play. That's one of the oddities defensively in this ballpark, is that the left fielders will consistently play well off the line in the left center. If you hit the ball down the line here, it's going to be two anyway. They want to take away the alleys, and that's exactly where Holliday is setting up against Sammy,
who has killed right in his major league career. 10 hits, 5 home runs. And that one over the inside corner, says Dan Iasagna, the home plate umpire. A leadoff Patterson double. 2 lineouts from Garciaparra and Moises Alou have followed. Almost hit him inside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Although Wright has a good fastball, it's not a great fastball, and one of the reasons why Sammy's hit the 5 home runs is that he doesn't change speeds very well.
One ball, 2 strikes.
That was a good hard slider from Wright. He figures at 1 and 2, you would think at least that he would be thinking along the same lines, trying to get Sammy out of the strike zone.
1 ball, 2 strikes here in our first inning. And that one well off the plate to even things up at 2 and 2.
Look at Charles Johnson, a man who they thought they had traded to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Charles had other ideas and invoked his no trade, and there was no trade.
Wright has a 2-2 count on Sosa. And that ball thumbed toward Vinny Castilla at third. Wright has not given up a hit this year with a man on base. That trend continues in a disappointing first inning. Carlos Zambrano to the mound. No score in Colorado.
Free to move about the country.
Did you hear that? What did you say this room was called?
Sacrificial chamber.
AVP, Alien vs. Predator, rated PG-13, August 13th.
I believe in winning the right way and being honest on the field. Chevy and I have the same philosophy. Chevy's got new models on the road right now, and I can't wait to see what they come up with next.
The word is out. Get big cash back or low APR financing for qualified buyers on Chevy, America's biggest lineup of SUVs.
You know, you think about the American way, you think about baseball, apple pie, and Chevrolet.
You're watching Chevy Baseball Wednesdays, presented by your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Chevy dealers.
No score after a half inning. Here's how the Rockies will line up. Aaron Miles, the switch-hitting second baseman, starts things off. Royce Clayton at shortstop hits second. Todd Helton hit a long home run here last night. Vinny Castilla, another great season for the grizzled veteran, over at third base. Jeremy Brunitz gives Larry Walker a night off in right. Preston Wilson in center. Holliday in left. Johnson behind the plate. And Jamie Wright will pitch in that ninth against Cub right-hander Carlos Zambrano.
There's a look at Carlos. The Cubs all-star. On for the 21st time. He has one complete game. It was that 2-hit shutout against these same Rockies. But these Rockies hit a whole lot better in their home park than they do on the road.
Miles 1 for 3 in the opener. Very short, compact stroke from the left side. And Carlos fires a strike to get his game underway. 0-1 the count to Miles, hitting .312 this season. And that one cut upon lately and bounced into the seats, and he may have broken his bat.
Miles came over from the White Sox for Juan Uribe, a trade that helped both teams, but specifically the White Sox. And the White Sox having a few problems in Kansas City, trailing 9-0 that game early, however.
Let's take a quick peek at the Cubs defense. Alou, Patterson, and Sosa in the Corona outfield. Ramirez, Garciaparra, Walker, and Lee around the horn. And Michael Barrett and Carlos Zambrano, the game 2 battery. 0-2 count to Miles, and that's well up and away.
And we say the horn with reverence because the horn's on the disabled list with Boston. Mark Bellhorn, injured. He's out for a while. Good luck, Horn.
I miss the horn.
He had a good year for the Cubs and then had some problems. We were having dinner with Ron Santo, but it's too long a story to go into.
1-2 count. Ouch. Miles got drilled. They appealed over to third base to see if Miles swung the bat. Jeff Kellogg said he did not swing. He was trying to get out of the way. Barrett and Zambrano will talk that over. And Miles takes some punishment and takes his place at first.
Well, the one thing that's not appealable is the fact that this one really hurt. He got it in the left forearm. And hopefully for him and the Rockies, it's more meat than bone. That's one of those fastballs that can break those small bones in the wrist. Carlos has hit a few this year. That's number 14, and he's got to be among the league leaders in that department. Clayton among the league leaders in sacrifice bunts. He's got 20 of them.
Zambrano 2 behind Jerome Williams of San Francisco in hit by pitch.
I don't think Williams is going to hit any for a while.
He's hurt. Here's Clayton. Let's see if he's bunting. 20 sacrifices on the year. No sign of that as it's bounced past Sandy Alomar. Former Cub coach, now manning the third base box for Clint Hurdle and these Colorado Rockies.
When you have a reputation as a guy who will bunt, it really helps you because, for instance, Ramirez is in on the grass. It's very hard in front of home plate on the dirt, and you can easily chop the ball over his head. So Ramirez, having to take away the bunt, is pulled way in.
Line drive over Lee and into right field for a hit. That'll bounce off the wall, and that's real trouble. Miles around third, gets the green light. Sammy will airmail the cutoff man, and Clayton will head to third base. 1-0 Colorado.
And that was the problem with that throw. Number one, the ball bounced back toward the infield when it hit that corner in right. Number two, if you miss the cutoff man, you're going to allow the trailer to take another base. Sammy really had very little chance of getting Miles, but if he hits Derek Lee with the cutoff throw, he's going to have a good shot at cutting down Clayton at third base. Alomar waving Miles all the way. And if this is on the money to Lee, they're going to throw out Clayton at third. As it is, one in, man at third now, and the infield back as Dusty Baker knows that this has a chance to be a high-scoring affair, as does just about every game here.
Helton hit a rainbow 2-run homer down the left field line here last night. And that was a ball that was hit, and Kerry Wood couldn't believe that it carried out that far to left field for the Rockies' first baseman. But Helton, one of the great hitters in the month of August in the history of baseball. He's a .385 lifetime hitter this month. And that's tops among all active major league players.
The Cubs will gladly trade the run for the out. The real game plan here in Colorado is limit the damage. You're going to give up runs. Just make sure they don't turn into huge innings.
2 balls, 1 strike. Ball 3 with Castillo waiting on deck.
This is where home run hitters make their money. 3-1. Early innings against the sinker baller. If the ball stays up in the zone, you have to be very aware of Helton here.
And he's earned a base on balls. 3 hitters up, 3 hitters on, and 1 man in. And now Vinny Castillo will hit. Barrett out for a chat with Zambrano. Fastball at 96 miles an hour and up.
Well, despite the fact that Castilla was telling us before the game that he does have surprising speed. Actually, he would surprise anybody because he's grounded into 18 double plays and hasn't stolen a base. So he's doing a good job of concealing it from the league.
Well, he runs around the bases very quickly after he hits one of those 23 home runs.
Well, he told me yesterday that very few guys would have scored on the play that he scored on. I said, Larry Walker hit a triple. You had to score. You had no choice.
That's in for a strike. It's 0-1.
Castilla's had a resurgent year. They love him here.
Burnett's next, and he too a man you can double up if, and it's still a big if, in this place you can get a ground ball.
I don't think Burnett hits enough ground balls to get a double play. He's got an uppercut swing. He's a fly ball hitter, but he has great power.
2-strike pitch to Castilla. They're at the corners. Nobody out. And then up and away for a ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. They're underway in St. Louis. No score after 1. The Expos helped out the Cubs in extra innings last night. A 2-run homer tied it in the 9th, and a grand slam won it for the Expos. 1-2. That almost hit Castilla. 2 balls, 2 strikes. I would imagine the biggest question for any visitor coming into this ballpark is how quickly you can find your breaking ball.
Well, last night it came to Kerry Wood about the 3rd inning, and it was very good the rest of the way.
Slow roller hit toward 3rd. Ramirez has only 1 play, and he'll make it to 1st. On contact, Clayton comes home. Helton to 2nd, and the Rockies lead by a 2-0 score.
A nice piece of hitting by Castilla. He didn't hit it hard, and a wise choice by Ramirez. If you come home and you don't have a good angle on this throw, if you don't get Clayton, you really open the door for a big inning. As it was, they conceded the 88th run driven in by Castilla. The Cubs fall down a pair, but there's a long way to go. And on the chopper in the infield, with Ramirez back, he knows how fast Clayton can run. He takes the sure out.
It's the first of the inning, and Burnett's quickly behind with a strike. Burnett's also on a tear. A .303 average, 28 home runs. He's knocked in 81. And part of a 4-man rotation that Clint Hurdle has for his outfield. Tonight it's Larry Walker's turn to rest.
He wants to get Holiday, who they believe is part of their future, in at least 4 times a week. Now Burnett does have, along with the team, a mutual option for next year at a moderate price for a slugger, $3 million, and there's sentiment that with the year he's had, they would love to bring him back.
That just missed the corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
This is a guy that can hit the ball out any part of the ballpark. However, he's fanned 81 times, and a lot of them have been on face-high fastballs. It's a good place to go when you're ahead, and Carlos is that.
He stretches. He pitches with a 1-2. And a little roller hit towards 2nd. Todd Walker, a former Rocky, makes the play. And there's your 2nd out. Helton to 3rd with Preston Wilson coming up. Wilson hitless last night. And as Steve alluded earlier, has had all kinds of leg problems for Colorado this year, and that's the last thing they wanted to see happen to Wilson, who had a monster season for them last year.
Well, hitting .282, that was impressive enough, but he drove in 141 with 36 home runs. It was a big year.
And slowly but surely, although he still does it a lot, Wilson is starting to cut down on his strikeouts. He punched out 185 times or so just a few short years ago. Carlos would love to get one here. And he's 1 strike away from ending this Colorado first.
Well, the Rockies know they have to do something with the payroll. That's one of the reasons why they wanted to move Charles Johnson. Another reason why they've asked Larry Walker a couple of times to come off his no trade. There is some sentiment that maybe Florida will make more advances toward Walker. But so far, he's staying right where he has his home, here in Denver.
2-strike pitch. And Barrett wanted that call, didn't get it. Don't see Michael react like that too often behind the plate, but he slumped his shoulders as he prepared to return the ball to Zambrano here.
You had to look at Larry Walker. When healthy, one of the best players in the game.
1-2. And down goes Wilson. Zambrano does a nice job of minimizing the damage. 2 runs, 1 hit, and 1 hit batsman.
It's Toyota Top playing for a limited time.
Cubs baseball is brought to you in part by Midas. For mechanics known for their work and their word, trust the Midas touch. Corona Extra, miles away from the ordinary. Ford, visit your local Ford store. And by SBC, going beyond the call.
Aramis Ramirez leads off the Cubs second. Colorado stakes Jamie Wright to a brief 2-0 lead. Ramirez, Lee, and Todd Walker are coming up tonight. And there's a good breaking pitch. Montreal, by the way, on the board again in St. Louis. The Expos have won 9 of their last 11 games.
That's been very surprising. They're playing good, solid baseball recently.
Lined over third, but out of play, foul. And Aramis down 1-2 now.
One of the reasons why Ramirez, for a slugger, doesn't strike out very much is that he does use right and right center field quite a bit.
In 363 at bats, Ramirez only 48 strikeouts. And in this day and age of power-laden Major League Baseball, that is a real rarity. That much power and that much contact consistently.
And it's also unusual for a young hitter to have that kind of conception of the strike zone.
Two and two from Wright. High fly ball center field. Not much carry to it. Wilson will make the play. And he does for out number 1.
What Jamie Wright has done a couple of times, and this will set up his hard slider, is that he's gotten inside on both Sosa and Ramirez. When Johnson has wanted the fastball in, he's gotten it in. And a lot of young pitchers don't understand that pitching inside isn't throwing inside for strikes. It's throwing inside when you force a hitter to swing at a pitch that's 3 or 4 inches inside.
Derek Lee, a 2-run homer last night, nearly got hit as that one sweeps by him. 1 ball, no strikes. 21 homers, 65 knocked in for the Cubs first baseman, who along with Todd Helton represents the cream of the crop defensively at first base in our league. Off his thumb, slowly hit up the middle. Miles, off balance play, and it's an infield hit for Lee. That ball had a lot of funny spin on it, and Derek, with good speed, legs it out.
Well, that's a play that if Clayton doesn't get it, you probably have no chance of getting Lee. Miles made it a lot closer than it should have been. Well, watch it again. Lee gets almost off the hands. Good pickup by Helton, but they can't get him.
And that'll bring up a man who's very familiar and very successful in the batter's box here in Denver. That's Todd Walker, a .341 career average at Coors Field. Todd hitting 7th. Lee runs. The pitch low. The Johnson throw high. And Derek Lee has his 7th stolen base.
Well, that was stolen on Wright. And had he looked at Lee, Lee took a couple step break and then stopped. And then when he did start, Wright was very slow to home plate. Johnson doesn't make a great throw, but it doesn't matter who is throwing that time. Derek Lee stole it on Wright.
So an RBI chance for Todd Walker here with 1 man out. Huge lead out at second, and that's well off the plate. I mean, Derek Lee is 40% of the way toward third base.
Well, one of the things that I think the Cubs are aware of is that you can run on Wright. However, he's got a great move to first base, so we'll have to watch that as things move along tonight.
1-1 count. And that's a little low. Wright in his career has had real good luck against the Cubs, by the way. At 10 decisions, he's won 6 of them. Will this be a different Jamie Wright, however? Colorado 2, Cubs nothing. Runner at second, 1 out. Big gap left center if Todd can go that way. And that tied him up inside. He took it for a called strike.
Well, you've got Walker up who can pull the ball. And you better make sure on a base hit to Burnitz that you can score, because he's got a real good and accurate arm.
2-2. Walker swings and misses. That bounces away from Johnson. He can't find it. Lee around third. He's going to try. Right throw to the plate. Terrible. How about that? Derek Lee scores from second on a wild pitch, and it's a 2-1 game.
Well, Charles Johnson shows you one of the reasons why they've been thinking that they'd like to see him move. Not only doesn't block the pitch, which was a tough pitch to block, but then had absolutely no idea where the ball was. In fact, that ball wasn't in the dirt. Johnson mystified, and as Wright scrambles for the baseball, they still have a shot at Lee. Throw is well off the mark, and heads up base running cuts the lead in half.
So it is credit to the strikeout. I'm assuming it's a wild pitch that scores Lee. Walker's at first for Michael Barrett, and only 1 out. It's a 2-1 game.
I'm not sure if you can call that a wild pitch, because that pitch didn't hit the dirt. I mean, Charles Johnson just plain missed it. And I'm sure the official scorekeeper has taken a look at it. He hasn't put up anything on the board yet. Really doesn't matter. Eventually they will give the Cubs there. They give them credit for the run.
1 strike pitch to Michael Barrett. And a late call over the inside corner has him behind 0-2. Michael had a tough night behind the plate. Baseball kept finding the anatomy, as did the opponent's bats. You might remember late in the game last night on the recoil, Green hit him on the glove hand, and the left thumb took some punishment. But he's good to go tonight. 2-strike pitch, bounced right side and through for a hit. Walker cuts the bag at second. He'll take third without a throw. Nice piece of hitting by Michael Barrett. We talked about it, Steve, in the open. You play fundamentally sound baseball, good things are going to happen for your offense, and they have so far tonight.
The Cubs have also played heads-up baseball. Wright not changing speeds. Cubs taking advantage of it. That one just to the right of Helton. And Todd Walker not even thinking about it. He knew that Burnitz was deep in right. He goes to third easily. Runners at the corners for Zambrano, who's been a good hitter this year.
He has 2 RBIs. The pitch to him is fouled at the plate. Strike 1 to Zambrano. Cubs trying to get 11 over 500 tonight. Zambrano showed bunt and takes the ball.
They've just changed the wild pitch to a pass ball. They did indeed review it and realized that ball never hit the dirt. Johnson just missed it.
And that is the proper call. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, the Cubs are ecstatic to be catching the Rockies. The simple reason that they went through a streak of 50 straight games playing teams above 500 until they came here last night and beat the Rockies at home, where the Rockies are tough.
Right ahead of his mound opponent, Zambrano now. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Barring a double play ball, Patterson will have a chance to hit next. 1-2. Too far inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. A lot of pitches for Jamie Wright here in the second. And that one takes care of Carlos. Second strikeout of the inning. Second out of the inning. And it will bring up Patterson.
One of the things the Cubs might want to look at is that foot of Helton at first base. You have to be standing in fair territory, and Helton with the left foot has it in foul territory. It's an advantage because it's easier to make a tag. Now I don't know if he's going to move it at all, but right now it is in foul territory.
Patterson doubled off his glove. His first time up, and was stranded in that first inning.
Only guy can set up in foul territory, by the way, is the catcher.
1 ball, no strikes. Cubs on the board on an alert base running play by Derek Lee. A strikeout and a passed ball brought him home from second. And now Walker 90 feet away, Barrett at first, and Patterson with 2 outs hits for the second time this evening. Corey didn't think much of that call. 2 balls and a strike. That one looped over third, but it's going to slice out of play. And we'll do it again at 2-2. Nice sized crowd here in Denver tonight. They had over 40,000 here last night. They'll have a few more than that here in game 2. Great bulk of them Cubs fans.
If the Cubs keep things rolling along, you're going to hear a roar from the legion that follows this team.
That's yanked foul past Gene Clines. And Patterson will do it again at 2-2. Again popped out of play. Let's take a look at tonight's Buick opinion poll with Corey Patterson in the batter's box. Where do you think he should hit? Log on to FSNChicago.com. Results will come your way on the postgame show. Misty Baker has said for the time being he's going to hit first. 2-2. Good patience by Patterson. That's a pitch he would have swung at a month ago.
Well, the Cubs are undefeated with the 1-2 combination of Patterson and Garciaparra. And in a game where you ride the hot hands, you keep a similar lineup. And Corey showing patience. That ball was off the corner.
3-2. He protects the plate. That one skied toward left. Holiday, long run, runs out of real estate. And that's tough to do. There's a lot of it in this park.
What you have to have in this ballpark is a center fielder that can really go get him, because there's as much room in center field here and probably in Florida as any 2 places in the league. One of the reasons why they swapped center fielders. Wilson came here and Juan Pierre did a great job for the Marlins, went there.
Another payoff pitch from Wright to Patterson, and he got him to retire the side. 1 run, 2 hits, 2 men left. Cubs have stranded 3 in the game and trail it by a 2-1 score. Dramatic home run, the sexiest athlete. We'll find out on Sports List. It's the new show that counts down the 10 best and 10 worst of everything and anything in sports and starts a new argument 5 nights a week. Sports List with Summer Sanders, weeknights at 5 on FSN Chicago.
And the Rockies like Matt Holliday. He's got good but not prodigious power at this point, but he's a big guy. He's 6'4". He's going to fill out some. They think he's got a chance to be a good player.
Off his thumbs and into straightaway left. Moises Alou dead in his tracks will take care of Doc Holliday. 1 up, 1 down, 4 straight, retired by Zambrano. Here's Johnson.
Well, the Dodgers were thinking about getting 2 Johnsons. They wound up with none because Charles turned down the trade, and we know about the Randy Johnson situation. They would have loved to have had the big man to fill out their rotation. They were looking for a catcher, and instead they wound up with Brett Maine to go with David Ross. And so it'll be interesting to see a team that was dominated by pitching, traded Mota, gave away La Duca, and we'll see how the new look Dodgers fare.
Maybe Brad Penny can pitch 3 days a week as that ball scalded toward right. Sammy will play that off the wall. Johnson around first on his way to second, where he'll stand with one man out.
Penny was awfully good last night in his debut for the Dodgers.
I'll say gave up 2 hits in 8 innings.
Inside out swing by Charles Johnson as he drives this ball into right field. And Jamie Wright will have an opportunity with Johnson in scoring position.
Quite a decent hitter, 136 lifetime. 1 strikeout, 1 sacrifice for the Rockies pitchers so far this season. No sign of a bunt. He shoots it toward right. That'll chase Sammy back 7 steps. He'll make the play. Johnson invites a throw, and Sammy hits the cutoff man perfectly. Good throw that time from Sosa. Wright's retired, and Aaron Miles hits with 2 out.
This ball hard hit, but Sammy right there to make the play. And Charles Johnson doesn't have particularly good speed, so he stays anchored at second.
Miles was hit by a pitch and scored ahead of the Royce Clayton first inning triple.
You get a chance to throw out Johnson at the plate on a base hit. And Miles is a switch hitter. He's a better hitter from the left side, where he's had a whole lot more work. He also has more power as a left-hand hitter.
1 ball, no strikes to Miles. Grounded up the middle. Todd Walker to his right, kicks it. And everybody's safe.
It's going to be an error on Walker, and it's going to be number 6. He had to move to his right. But this is a play that he would probably tell you he should have made, and keeps the inning alive for Clayton.
First and third now with 2 outs. And Clayton, who has been slumping, off to a good start tonight. Lifetime 2 for 10 against the Cubs.
You might remember his struggles against the Cubs when he was with the Milwaukee Brewers. They were legendary. He just could not get a hit.
He didn't go 0 for the season, but he came pretty close.
I know he was the happiest man around to see that Cub pitching staff finally leave town. But he's also rejuvenated his career. They brought him over here for the defense, and he's turned into a guy hitting in excess of 280.
That caught the corner. Good pitch. Took something off. 0-2. Against the Cubs last year, he was 3 for 43.
But it was a hard 3
Yes.
for 43.
Let's see if he can hit a hard 500 by going down here in the second inning. That's over the outside corner. It throws him. Carlos pitches around the air and the double. After 2, he's trailing 2-1 with Nomar coming up next. Sutcliffe won the Cy Young Wednesday, August 11th. The first 20,000 fans get a scratch and win card. 100 random winners will get a Mitchell & Ness Cooperstown Authentic Collection 1984 Rick Sutcliffe road jersey. Fans are encouraged to hold on to their cards for second chance drawings throughout the game. There's no purchase necessary, and Nomar has a 12-game hitting streak. A leadoff bullet to left field here in the third inning. That boy can hit.
You don't lead any league twice in hitting without being able to hit. He hit .357 in 1999. He hit .372 in the year 2000. Led the American League both years. He put up some gaudy numbers.
Pretty good lead over at first base. And Wright will keep him close. Again, Garciaparra does have and has had an Achilles tendon problem. One would not think the Cubs would allow him to be too adventurous on the base path early tonight.
If his legs are feeling good, he can still run pretty well. And again, remember, Wright has a very good move, but he's very slow to home plate.
Two to one, Colorado the lead. We're in the third. No movement at first, and Alou swings and misses. Strike one. Lots of other baseball tonight. We'll keep you posted as this inning progresses. Houston playing better. Cardinals losing at the moment. Milwaukee winning tonight over the Mets and Steve Traxel. 0-2.
Kind of an oddity for the Rockies. They've both grounded into and turned 90 double plays. And on a chopper in the infield, if Nomar can get a piece of the pivot man, he can stop the double play. Moises has grounded into 9 of them.
I'm guessing 85 of those 90 have occurred on the road for Colorado. And Moises protects the plate and stays alive here at 0-2. And that's really going to be the fundamental challenge this organization in Colorado has. How do you build a team that can not only win here, but win consistently on the road, something they have never been able to do in the history of this franchise?
I was going to say, as soon as they figure that out, they will then consistently contend.
No balls, 2 strikes. Missed the inside corner. Good eye by Alou. 1-2 now.
But the way they've played on the road, there's a lot of folks that think that in order for this team to get to postseason play, they've got to win 60 games at home. So you got to go 60-21. And although they've been very good at home, they haven't been that good.
1-2. Garciaparra leads, doesn't go, and the pitch sweeps outside at 2-2. Well, how dramatically different is this Colorado team? They score 6.5 runs a game and hit over 300 as a club in Coors Field. Away from home, Clint Hurdle's bunch at 242 and 4.2 runs a game. A 2-run difference between their home and road record. Runner goes, good jump, and Alou rolls it foul.
Well, Dusty was guessing, one, that Moises was going to make some contact, or if the pitch was well out of the zone, he would lay off and allow Garciaparra to steal second. He did get a good jump.
Another good lead from first, and now a 2-2. And a good at bat continues for Moises, spoiling some right pitches here in the third inning. Doug Davis winning tonight over the Mets. Davis with that new 2-year contract extension, pitching very well in his home ballpark. They lead the Mets 3-1 in the 5th. New York, a funny team. They gave up an awful lot to add Victor Zambrano and to add Chris Benson. And the Mets 7.5 games out in the wild card, 8 back in the East.
This is a good time if you want to send Garciaparra. And you're guessing that Wright will go to the slider.
Big lead. Going. Pitch inside and no chance for Johnson. It's an easy stolen base for Garciaparra. Second steal of the night for the Cub offense.
Garciaparra looking back to see if there was any contact, and he's in easily at second base. He gets a great jump. That ball drifts inside. No chance for Charles Johnson.
Real good at bat for Alou. Let's see if he can make it work here. 3-2. Pulled toward third. That's a fair ball. Vinny Castilla looks the man back. Low throw. Scooped up nicely by Todd Helton.
We told you about Todd Helton's defense. It's one of the real underrated parts of his game. He's made just 2 errors all year long. Vinny Castilla almost threw one away there. He's made 6 errors, but Helton saved him.
That's going to be a real good battle for the Gold Glove in the National League this year. Helton with 2. Lee with 4. Here's Sammy. Let's see if he can drive home the game-tying run for the Cubs. This is a ballpark where Sammy has feasted in his career. 20 home runs, 56 driven in at Coors Field lifetime.
And he also loved Mile High Stadium. And he gets plunked for the first time this year.
And he glares out at right. And Sosa will take his place at first base.
And pretty hard to believe, Sammy Sosa in this is 76th game being hit for the first time. So he'll go to first and leave it up to Ramirez. Johnson wants it inside, and Sammy gets it on the hip.
So first and second for Aramis Ramirez, who flied out to center, leading off the second inning. So the hit batsmen are even. Let's see if the Cubs can make right pay. Already 54 pitches for him. And number 55 way upstairs.
And the Cubs have the right guy in the batter's box in Ramirez. He's always told us that although he concentrates all the time, that concentration seems to go up with runners in scoring position.
Good speed aboard with 1 out. And that one too high. Ball 2. 2-0 your count. Padres are home to the Phillies later on tonight. Phillies beat them last night. Milton and Eaton will hook up in the middle game of that series. High, lazy fly ball to right. Burnitz backtracking now. Nomar's going to tag. And Burnitz will concede third base. And there's your second out. Cub runners at the corners for Derek Lee, who legged out an infield hit in the second inning. Cubs are getting lots of chances against Wright, but they haven't been able to deliver the big blow, and that's been the real calling card for Wright this year. Has given up just 1 base hit this season with men on base.
Well, the Rockies, with some pitching problems in the starting rotation, liked what they saw of Wright in AAA. And so they brought him up. And he's been pretty good tonight. But yet, when you take a look at the numbers in this his 3rd start, and you realize that he's averaging 2 hits per innings pitched, you wonder how long he can flirt with danger and continue to stay in the game.
1 ball, no strikes. Bounce toward Castilla. He'll give ground. He'll flip to second, and the opposition 1 for 29 against that man with men on base. He's protecting a 2-1 lead into the last of the 3rd.
You've been waiting all year for this moment to arrive. The one and only clearance at your Lincoln Mercury dealer. A short time when you can get the best savings of the year on every Lincoln and Mercury, including Mercury.
See your Chicago area Lexus dealer.
Friday, Carlos Lee leads the White Sox. They'll take on Omar Vizquel and the Cleveland Indians on the south side. White Sox and Indians baseball Friday at 6:30 only on FSN Chicago. 3rd inning. Figures to be a tough one. Helton, Castilla, and Burnitz are coming up for Colorado. They lead it by a 2-1 score.
And talking with some of the Rockies recently, they say for whatever reason, this hasn't been a real high-scoring ballpark over the last couple of weeks. Now, you're always going to get your 10-7 games, but they said surprisingly there's been some closer games. And although we saw early fireworks last night, we saw all the scoring ended in the 2nd inning. And it's just 2-1 in this one. Rockies only have a couple of hits, but they've made the most of them.
1-1 count. And Hilton pops that up down the left field line. Long run Ramirez, longer run Alou. Moises coming on, sliding catch in foul ground. Beautiful play by Moises Alou. One man down.
It's a great play by Alou because there's no way that Garciaparra or Ramirez could have gotten to this. Moises backhands it while sliding into foul territory. A great effort, and he takes care of a very good hitter. You see Ramirez getting out of the way when he hears Moises call for it. That's a strong effort.
That'll bring up Vinny Castilla. His ground out to third plated the second and final Colorado run. This guy must get water delivered from the fountain of youth every spring training. He really is a remarkable player.
Well, they brought him back here for a couple of different reasons. One, they know defensively he would certainly help them on the left side, and they thought with the addition of Castilla and Clayton, it would be much more difficult for guys to hit the ball through. They knew he had a little life left, but they never dreamed he'd be close to 100 RBIs now.
Hard hit ball. Nomar had no chance. And that's the third Colorado hit. I think, too, character's a big part of Vinny Castilla's game as well.
You see Barrett wants it inside. Carlos doesn't get it there. He gets it low and away, and Castilla does a nice job of driving it through the hole. And you're right about character. He's been a good character man from the beginning. He was raised in the Atlanta system as a shortstop and moved away in the first expansion draft.
And no one thought he would blossom into a 40 home run hitter, but he has done that while with this Colorado team. Here's Burnitz. He hit the ball to second on the ground his first time up. Cubs will love to see him do that again here. Out of play to the left side, and the count evens at a ball and a strike.
The Cubs had some interest in Burnitz. They were thinking about him playing center field when Corey Patterson went down. As it turned out, it was the Dodgers that were able to pick him up before finding his way here to Colorado.
Late swing and tipped perhaps. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
He's not going to hit the high Zambrano fastball. Not at 96 through 98. In fact, that might have been the last time he hit that face-high fastball.
19 or 18. 98 downstairs. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
But he's a guy, and he's always been a great mistake hitter. If you get the ball out over the plate, especially from the waist down, he can hit it a long way.
I was just glad to see him out of our division. He tormented the Cubs while with Milwaukee. 2-2. Off his thumbs and back toward us. Braves are beating Houston tonight behind John Thompson. 5-2 the score in the 8th inning down at Minute Maid Park. Arizona behind Randy Johnson has an early lead over Florida. That's 2-0. Josh Beckett back.
Back from the blisters?
Yes, indeed. Double play ball. Nomar at second for 1. Derek Lee at first for 2. Burnitz has played Pepper with Todd Walker twice and is hitless in the game. 2-1 after 3. We head to the top of our 4th. Let's peek at our Aflac trivia question. Which players recorded their 300th win and 3,000th hit on this date in 1985? I like to disqualify myself because I know the answer. Todd Walker will lead things off. He struck out, reached first on a pass ball, and was stranded at third base. Cubs have left 5 on against Jamie Wright in the game's first 3 innings. He's really labored through 60 pitches so far.
I understand that one of our official scorers back in Chicago is watching the ball game tonight, a little under the weather. Bob Rosenberg. Great friend to all is Rosie.
Hopefully he's resting comfortably in Aurora tonight. And Rosie, all of us have Been thinking about you today. Hope everything will go well. You'll be home soon, we hope. And in a great line of official scores here, their official score, too, has been flipping the coin in your honor tonight.
Well, Ron Santo did give him a great piece of advice. I was able to overhear the phone call, and he mentioned to Rosie that he should get a good doctor. And I thought Rosie was going to specify he was going to get a bad doctor. So it is a good piece of advice. So, Rosie, hurry back.
That's off the plate. I'll lead off walk. Well, as long as the doctor's a Cub fan, I'm sure Rosie will be in and out in a mere matter of hours.
Doctor's a Cub fan. Rosie might be in trouble.
First walk for Wright. And here's Barrett. Hit the ball beautifully past Todd Helton into right field. His first and only time up.
And if the Cubs want to, they can use the hit and run with Barrett.
Inside, ball one. Wright is asking for trouble. He's been behind virtually every hitter he's faced tonight.
Well, it's one thing to average 2 hits per inning. It's very difficult to pitch around that consistently. But if you start walking people to go with it, you're going to give up a few. There is a hole on the right side if Michael goes that way.
Bounced it toward Miles at second. Convenient hop. Clayton hop step, and Barrett is safe at first. He beat it out. Hard slide in at second by Walker, and Clayton airborne, got as much on the throw as he could, but Barrett still aboard with 1 out now.
Clayton does a nice job of just getting this throw off. Walker goes in real hard. And with both feet in the air, Royce Clayton able to get enough on the throw to make it very close at first, but Barrett hustling down, and he beat the play.
Did you see Todd stutter step to set up to go in hard at second base there? Pretty good play.
Well, if he doesn't disrupt the rhythm of Clayton, that's going to be a double play. So he got the Cubs, at least for the moment, 1 more out in the inning.
Let's see if Zambrano can move Barrett into scoring position. He has sacrificed successfully 4 times this year. More good news from St. Louis. We'll tell you about that in a moment. 1-0 count. He is low. Montreal behind Livan Hernandez, beating the Cardinals now 3-0 in the 4th inning. Jeff Suppan pitching for the Redbirds.
Well, assuming that Tony Batista keeps hitting home runs, they got the right guy on the mound, Livan Hernandez, one of their starters who's top notch.
2-0 count. Zambrano draws the bat back, slugs that foul, 2 balls and a strike.
Well, the key for you youngsters on that particular play, if you show bunt, you don't take a full swing. You bring it back because you're going to get guys shifting in the infield. All you want to do is take a half swing and punch it through a vacated area.
2-1.
The best I ever saw at that particular play is now the pitching coach with the Texas Rangers, and that's Oral Hershiser. He had a very good idea about who was going to move, and he'd just draw the bat back and hit a little ground ball through the vacated area, and did it consistently.
Beautiful bunt. Only 1 play. Cubs give up the out for 90 feet on the base paths, and it brings up Corey Patterson. Again, a chance for the Cubs to even the score.
Nice bunt by Carlos Zambrano. He forces Castilla to go to first base. The call on the play going from Johnson, who has the whole play in front of it. He's able to make it at sacrifice number 5.
A double and a strikeout for Corey Patterson. Let's see if he can park one here. Cubs about hit Colorado 4-3, but trailed 2-1. 1 ball, no strikes.
Preston Wilson is only playing about a step toward right center. Corey doesn't like to pull the ball.
Pretty good rip at that pitch. Straight back to the screen. Evens it up. Let's play hypothetical general manager. If you were the man running this Rocky team, how would you try to build this ball club? How would you stack your outfield here?
Well, something they haven't done. I mean, the outfield, I think, is not near as important as developing good young pitchers. And I think that's one of the things they have to do, Chip, because it's very difficult to bring top-notch free agents in here. And when you do, I mean,
they tried it with
the
Hampton
late
and
Darryl
Nagel.
Kyle was a high fastball curveball pitcher, didn't do very well. It grinds you down in this park. I mean, Hampton just had to go someplace else. Nagel got hurt. It's very difficult, so you have to grow your own pitchers. Now they've got a terrific young left-hander named Francis, who's a Canadian kid with not an overwhelming fastball, but a great sense of how to pitch. They've just moved him to AAA. He's going to be here. I'm not sure if it's this year, so that's a step in the right direction for them.
3 balls and a strike. Good hitter's pitch. And Corey takes it. Nomar will hit with 2 on and 2 men out.
And another walk from right. And he's got to face a guy who rocketed the ball into left field last time up.
Dusty Baker was asked about the newest Cub. And that is kind of unique. Even with interleague play, players coming from the other leagues still do need an adjustment period. Although Garciaparra has played more games in this ballpark this year than he has at Wrigley Field.
Well, what I do like about him is that more times than not, he will make some contact. You're going to get him out, but he doesn't swing at pitches out of the zone too often.
1 strike pitch, 2 outs. Line toward first and caught by Helton, and that will retire the side. The Cubs have stranded 7 men in the game. We're through 3.5, down a run. 5. Let's revisit our Aflac trivia question. The answer: Tom Seaver and Rod Carew. Tom Seaver with the White Sox, Rod Carew off Frank Viola.
That's Don Baylor. Tom Seaver gets him out. I think that's the only out Don Baylor ever made. How about that 300 win? And this guy could hit a little.
There's number 3,000 for Carew. So Carew has
You got 2,000 against me.
3,000 hit club.
Frank Viola gave up number 3,000 to Rod Carew. And Tom Seaver, with a 6-hitter over the Yankees, led the White Sox to a 4-1 win 19 years ago today. Congratulations, both.
Rod Carew, when he'd face a real tough left-hander, he'd bunt with 2 strikes. And I'll bet you 75 to 80% of the time, he got a base hit. He'd just lay it down anywhere fair and then beat it out. I've never seen anybody before him or since that could do that consistently.
Do you miss the little game in baseball? I mean, players today are so conscious of home runs and consequently do what Wilson just did and strike out a lot. It's not nearly seemingly as much contact in the game. And guys like Carew and Brett Butler personified that ability.
Well, it's just an offensive era. There's not much you can do about it. But any team that's going to go on to win the little aspects of the game. And we saw last year with Florida. I mean, they had speed at the top, good defense. They bunted well. They did the little things because they didn't have prolific power. Matt Holliday's dad, a longtime baseball coach with the Oklahoma State team. Now, how about this for a coincidence? His father coached Jeremy Burnitz. And while Jeremy Burnitz was in college to make more money, he babysat for Matt Holliday.
Wow. 0-2 count. Way upstairs. 1-2.
That Oklahoma State program put out a lot of very good players. And now his dad is, I think he's an assistant coach at the University of Texas. Which for a guy from any school in Oklahoma is blasphemy.
That's amazing. John Mabry's hit a 2-run homer for the Cardinals. They pulled to within a run At home against Montreal, it's 3-2 there. Here a 1-2 count to Holiday. And it's fouled out of play.
Holiday 6'4", 235 pounds. Out of Stillwater, Oklahoma.
So Burnett's babysat this guy, huh?
Yes. And he grew up to be a very large person. Bigger than Jeremy Burnett.
1-2 count. And down he goes. Zambrano has his 4th punch out of the game. And Charles Johnson will be the Colorado hitter.
Carlos is starting to heat it up. And the fastball is starting to sink. That one just sunk out of the zone. That's a pitch in this ballpark that will hold you in good stead.
Johnson doubled and was stranded back in the 2nd inning. Well off the plate. Phillies and Padres, no score in the 2nd.
And you can see Carlos getting in a pretty good rhythm. Normally when hitters see that, they like to step out, because when a pitcher gets in a rhythm, hitters have some problems.
Fouled away. Johnson down to his last strike. High hopper. Nomar and Walker converge. Derek Lee digs it out. Good play by Todd at 2nd. And a perfect 4th in the book for Carlos Zambrano. 2-1 Colorado the lead.
It's Toyota time. The nationwide clearance event. The year's biggest event. By your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Chevy dealers.
Chris Bowden with your Pontiac in-game update. Back in the newsroom here in Chicago. Olympic exhibition basketball. U.S. coming off its loss to Italy. Today against Germany, final seconds. Dirk Nowitzki ties it with 4 seconds to go at 77. Then Allen Iverson takes the inbounds, hits it just past midcourt, and wins it for the U.S. 80-77. Guys, back to you.
Top 5, Alu, Sosa, and Ramirez coming up against Jamie Wright. He scattered 4 hits, and the Cub run came courtesy of a passed ball. A 2-1 game, and he gets ahead with a good breaking ball. Strike 1 to the Cub left fielder, who's been robbed twice.
And they're playing him because of the hitting charts. They're playing him as a dead pull hitter in the infield, but straight away in the outfield.
So Andrew Arfick paying close attention tonight as we head to our Toyota fan of the game inning. Andrew from Buffalo Grove. And if the Cubs score here in the 5th, Andrew wins a Fox Sports Net Toyota prize package, including a hat and a t-shirt. Sammy Sosa waits next. 2-1 Wright. Out pitching Zambrano to this point. And a tapper is out of play, foul.
Vinny Castilla is playing right on the line and very deep at 3rd base. Last time Moises hit it right there. Holiday is playing in the gap in left center, and the first time Moises hit it right there.
1-2 now. 1 man down.
That time Johnson was playing him perfectly.
4th strikeout for Jamie Wright. Moises 0 for 3.
Good hard slider by Wright. And he's given up some hits and some hard hit balls, but so far the Cubs have just 1 up on the board against them, and if not for a pass ball, they wouldn't have scored that.
Sammy 0 for 1. He was hit by a pitch back in inning number 3.
A little more motivation after you get hit to bear down the next at bat.
That stays upstairs. Atlanta beats Houston 5-4 tonight. John Thompson the win. John Smoltz the save. So Houston falls a little further behind the Cubs. High fly ball, right field, pretty deep. Back goes Burnett. He's at the wall. He is able to make the grab. 2 out.
The park just big enough as Sammy took it as far back as you could take it. He stayed right on that ball. It was out away. He did just a bit of a hop. Not quite sure if it would go out. The high scoreboard in that area. Burnett doesn't have to jump. It settles right in his glove.
2 outs for Ramirez, who's flied out twice tonight. Once to center, once to right.
I think Aramis was real unhappy the last at bat. He got a pitch that he thought that he could drive, and I think he believes that he's seeing the ball pretty well against right. So this should be a good at bat for him.
Paints the corner.
Well, not if he throws it there. That's not particularly fair to the hitter.
I can't believe it. A pitcher taking a hitter's side? Throw you out of the pitchers union, pal. Did he hold up? Apparently not.
A bad call, and I hope Ramirez doesn't get thrown out of this one.
He will get fined for the bat flip. Charlie Relaford rings him up, and he'll fine him again for the helmet spike. 3 up, 3 down, halfway through. Rockies frustrating the Cubs 2-1. You know, in the past, Steve, it's been rumored that this is a very offensive-minded ballpark. We haven't seen that so far, however, in the first 2 games of this series.
I told you, the Rockies players told me for whatever reason the last couple of weeks, although they've had their explosions, as you would expect here, more times than not, it's a fairly close game. We've seen it in this series, 5-3 yesterday, just 2-1 here tonight. Hopefully the Cubs can break out of it, because Jamie Wright is throwing better than he threw for the Cubs in spring training.
And he will lead things off for Colorado in this 5th inning. Right fly to right. Back in inning number 2. He leads it by a 2-1 score. Carlos Zambrano doing everything he can. He's still pumping that fastball in the mid to upper 90s. He's surrendered just 3 hits, but 2 costly first inning runs has him on the short end so far.
Looking around again, there's at least 40,000, probably more here tonight. It was a late arriving crowd. Now you can understand last night late arriving because they did have an escapee.
That's
and
right.
They were checking cars to see if he was coming to the ballpark.
Down goes Wright. In fact, they had a huge number of credit card ticket purchasers yesterday, and while they were waiting in line, all the offense took place in the first 2 innings of the game. The folks who got here from the 3rd inning on sat back and watched nothing but zeros get put up on the scoreboard.
But those who love pitching certainly enjoyed from the 3rd inning on last night.
1 away for Miles, who is 0 for 1. Reached on a hit by pitch in the 1st and scored the first Colorado run. This guy's a good-looking little player.
Well, they weren't real happy with him at first. They sent him back to the minor leagues to get a little better concept of the strike zone, to take advantage of his speed, to swing down on pitches. He came back and he's done great.
Up the middle, Nomar. 360 spin, but Miles beats it out. Infield hit.
Well, good effort by Garciaparra, but Miles from the left side especially. Good speed, and he's able to beat the play. This one right back up the middle over Zambrano's head. And Miles, who's been on base all 3 times, has his first hit of the night.
Heck of a job to make that play as close as it was. Infield hit brings Clayton to the plate. He's tripled, scored, knocked in a run, and took a called 3rd strike. A strike at the knees.
Miles runs pretty well. He's swiped 9 bases, been caught just 3 times. He is their team leader in stolen bases, but Carlos is very quick to home plate. Usually around 1-1, which is well below league average, sometimes even around a second.
Elton waiting on deck. Wouldn't mind if Clayton obliged and hit into a double play here. Or if you have a choice of facing Helton, you'd prefer it with nobody on.
Well, there's two guys that have grounded into double figures in double plays, and one of them is Clayton with 10 of them.
Cubs have turned one twin killing tonight. Pitch out, no movement at first. Miles safely back. Same two teams tomorrow afternoon. We'll wrap up the season series with the Rockies, with Mark Pryor taking the mound for the Cubs. Then we will head on to San Francisco for a weekend extravaganza with the Giants. Snap throw back to first and a close play.
Well, Miles thought he had a chance to get a lead and realized that Zambrano is so quick to home, he couldn't get any jump at all. So he hustled back. Now they appeal the swing, and Miles gets back ahead of the tag, and Charlie Relaford says on top of it, Clayton didn't swing, so the count moves to 2-1. And if you're thinking of a hit and run, here's the perfect pitch. You very rarely see pitch outs at this count.
Big lead by Miles at first, not moving, and it's back to the screen, 2-2. Speaking of the Giants, they're hosting the Reds tonight. No score in the second inning. Ken Griffey Jr. reportedly back in the lineup for the Reds tonight. He went on the DL July 10th with a torn hamstring. Look out. That went off the facing of the Rocky dugout. Barry Bonds, by the way, 2 home runs yesterday. 687 lifetime.
Well, that's what they get for actually pitching to him.
And he's hit 29 this year. That despite walking a whopping 148 times this season.
He's going to draw in excess of 100 intentional walks.
He's at 81 now. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Miles leaning, not going. The pitch bounced. Derek can't get that. It's into right field. Miles will round second. He'll make third without a throw. And the Rockies in business with Helton coming up.
That one just out of the reach of Derek Lee. And for Miles, no thought of slowing down around second. So Sandy Alomar talking to him about probably making the line drive go through. This is a very fast infield here in Colorado. Miles knows that there's no chance Sammy's going to be able to throw him out at third.
So this sets up a real dangerous at bat for Helton. He's walked and denied by Moises Alou, who made a great running catch in foul ground to get him in the third inning. Off the plate, ball 1. Helton with 68 RBIs, 24 home runs.
Hard to believe a lifetime 385 hitter in August. Cubs could use a ground ball. Zambrano throwing many of them as the game has moved along, like most sinker ballers. It gets better as the game gets older.
Fisted towards second. Todd Walker will make the play, and Helton pops out again. Look at Helton.
Hitters pride themselves, especially great hitters like Todd Helton, on driving home runners from third base with less than 2 outs. That could turn into a very big play for the Cubs. But now you have to get by Vinny Castilla, who's had a couple of good at-bats against Zambrano.
Helton, one of the keys tonight. You mentioned him. He's 0 for 2. Castilla with 88 RBIs, standing in now with 2 outs and men at the corners. 2-1 Rockies trying to add to their lead. Off the plate, ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes.
Only Scott Rowland has driven in more. And Castilla and Burnett's 2 and 3 in the National League.
Burnett's waiting next. 2 balls, no strikes. I don't ever like to see a 2-0 count with this guy in the batter's box.
Well, he's one of the great dead fastball hitters in the league.
And he shows you why. Rifled over third, a run is in. Clayton around second. He's on his way to third. Colorado 3, Cubs 1.
You have very little chance, if he knows a fastball is coming, of getting it by him. I've seen him turn around a 100-mile-an-hour Billy Wagner fastball in a fastball situation. And as hard as Carlos throws, he just rifled that ball into left field. So he's driven in a pair. He now has 89. Zambrano trying to heat him upstairs. Wrong guy.
So a 2 RBI night for Castilla. 89 in total this year, and it's a 2-run deficit with Burnitz coming up. And he's hit the ball on the ground twice. Well, you fall behind Castilla, you're asking for trouble, and he provided it here in the 5th.
Larry Rothschild has his say. He goes back. And so far, Zambrano has held down Burnitz. He's having one of the really surprising years in the National League.
28 and 81, his power numbers. 2 outs. First and third again for Colorado. Three hits in this 5th for the Rockies. And that jackknifes Burnitz. 1-1 your count.
You'd just as soon not miss with a low fastball to Burnitz.
Because he won't miss it. Took a little off, and it's 2-2.
That was a good split finger, and he had Burnitz well out in front of it. Runners in scoring position. The Rockies, although they've had a tough time today, it's been a pretty good number for them this year.
Marcus Ferris, a big Cub fan, celebrating his 11th birthday. Under the weather and watching at the Coles home at Children's Memorial Hospital, hoping Burnitz will get out of this 5th inning. 2-2.
Jeremy Burnitz, I believe, another one of those guys that came out of the Cleveland Indian organization.
He's been a few places, and he's hit home runs everywhere he's been. 2-2. Missed inside, full count.
Now Derek Lee will tell Zambrano he's going to play behind Vinny Castilla to get a better angle. It'll close up the right side.
Three balls, 2 strikes. Castilla leads at first. There he goes. And Burnitz just did get a piece to stay alive.
Well, he didn't want to swing, and at the very end, he was able to just touch the ball and get another pitch. That ball was in off the plate. John Lester throwing in the pen.
And he loses Burnitz. 4th man to reach in the inning, and it brings up Preston Wilson with the bases loaded.
He's had Wilson's number. He's fanned him twice.
This all started with 1 out. Miles reached on an infield hit. Clayton singled. Help popped up. Zambrano fell behind 2-0 to Castilla. He hit a rope to left to score Miles. Now Burnitz walks. No place to put Wilson. And over the outside corner, Preston takes a called strike.
Well, Preston with an open stance, having some problems since coming back from the surgery with the outside corner.
0-1. Did he go? No, he did not. 1 ball, 1 strike. I'm sure Aramis Ramirez wonders why that wasn't called. One ball, 1 strike. Little flare, shallow right. Sammy coming on. He should make the play, and he does. Sombrano minimizes the damage. It's 3-1 Rockies after 5.
You've been waiting all year for this moment to arrive. The one and only clearance at your Lincoln Mercury dealer. A short time when you can get the best savings of the year on every Lincoln and Mercury, including Mercury Mountaineer with an available power moonroof and no charge
selection. On August 20th, go back.
Father Marin. How do you know my name?
Before the beginning, and witness a new chapter of evil.
Unclean spirit, I cast you out!
Exorcist, the beginning. Rated R. Starts August 20th.
Will my car be ready this afternoon like you promised?
Yes.
Will you use a bunch of lingo I won't understand?
No.
Will you try to sell me something I really don't need?
No.
Do you like Broadway show tunes?
No.
It's peak driving season. Come to Midas for great value and service every day. Lifetime guaranteed brake pads or shoes are just $89.95 installed. And they're guaranteed for as long as you own your car. For mechanics known for their work and their word.
Trust the Midas touch.
Hyundai's winning streak summer clearance is now held over. Save big on the Hyundai Sonata, named highest-ranked entry midsize car in initial quality by J.D. Power and Associates. It's this dedication to initial quality that lets Hyundai offer America's best warranty. 10 years, 100,000 miles. Plus, you get $2,000 cash back or 0% APR on every Sonata. So don't walk, run to Hyundai's winning streak summer clearance. Get a 2004 Hyundai Sonata with $2,000 cash back or 0% APR.
Cubs fans, enjoy a drink with your friends before, during, or after the game at the Friendly Confines. Near the corner of Addison and Sheffield, the Friendly Confines offers easy access in and out of the game. Enjoy Cubs ambience inside or order from the grill and relax in the outdoor patio.
Cubs find themselves down 2 now after 5 innings of play. Derek Lee to work against Jamie Wright. Wright has pitched behind in the count all night long. He's walked 2. He's struck out 5. The Cubs, though, have left 7 men on base.
Well, normally this is where Wright has some problems. And with that in mind, Clint Hurdle, even before the inning starts, has the bullpen up and going.
Down the right field line, that's going to reach the seats.
It's somewhat surprising. Here's a guy essentially not exactly coasted through 5, but he's through 5 with just 1 run that shouldn't have scored. But Clint Hurdle knows his personnel, and he knows that Jamie Wright, long around the 6th, starts missing over the middle of the plate.
That one off the plate. Good hitters count now. 3 balls and a strike.
Just 2 down. You put 1 on, and Todd Walker will represent the tying run.
That's what makes this play so tough.
And he just loves to hit in this part.
When you walk people, you're walking them into a double. 3 balls and a strike. Good start to the 6th inning. A leadoff base on balls. And Thursday, August 12th, the first 20,000 fans will get a scratch and win card. 100 random winners will get a majestic 2004 Kerrywood Road jersey, compliments of Pepsi. Fans are encouraged to hold on to their cards for second chance drawings throughout the game. There's no purchase necessary. For complete rules, visit Cubs.com. Walker's reached twice. He's struck out once. He's walked once. And he reached on the aforementioned second inning passed ball.
You get the Cub fans yelling, "Let's go Cubbies" in the background, and of course the Rockies fans trying to drown them out.
Lee going on first movement, put on the brakes. 1 ball, no strikes.
I'm not sure how patient Clint Hurdle is going to be with Jamie Wright.
Close play, and they got him.
I told you beforehand.
Gene Kleins argues, so does Derek Lee. Both thought he got back.
Well, the ball beat him, but it looked to me like his foot got back. But Jamie Wright has one of the best right-handed moves in baseball. We'll take another look at it. We'll have the benefit of slowing it down. Watch it again. Boy, it sure looked like he was back easily safe.
Charlie's had a tough night. 1 ball, no strikes.
Well, that one a particularly painful call because, I mean, Derek is 6'6". When you get tagged on the calf, the foot has to precede it to the bag.
So a 2-0 count to Walker and a 3-0 count to Walker. Wright spinning everything up there right now.
The Cubs want to take advantage of Wright while he's still in the game because he certainly lost any semblance of feel for the strike zone.
And so instead of 2 on, nobody out, you have Walker at first, 1 man down, and Michael Barrett up. He singled and bounced into a force out.
You've got Bob Apodaca, the pitching coach. Here comes Clint Hurdle. You would think after sending Charles Johnson out to kill a little time, if the bullpen is ready, this probably will be a bye-bye for Wright, who did a good job, but right now he's getting under everything. Looks to me like he's running out of gas.
He's at the 95 pitch mark, and now Hurdle is going to come out. The pitcher spot due up third in the bottom half of this 6th inning, so we'll see how the Rockies double switch here. Wright goes 5 innings and 1/3 tonight. 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. So far he's given up just 1 run and only 4 hits. All in all for Wright, pretty good outing, and he has had the Cubs number, and it is going to be Larry Walker who's going to come into this ball game for Colorado. Doman's going to come out of their bullpen. 3-1, Rockies have the lead. Top half of our 6th inning. We'll tell you about the new Colorado pitcher when we come right back.
At Supercuts, we understand guys.
Yeah, I don't really have a lot of time
or cash, but you want hot women to think you do.
Yeah. Something that's just
makes you look more complex than you really are.
Yes, that's it. Sort of spiky.
In a conservative, I have a job and don't live in my parents' basement kind of way.
Yeah,
Even though you do.
that's right. Oh, yeah.
Supercuts. When it comes to hair, we know how it is.
Why try Supercuts? Why not? They're quick, affordable, and have 1,700 locations nationwide.
Some like it hot, really hot. Still not as hot as our sizzling summer sales event now at Arlington, Lexus, and Palatine.
Right now, get the incredible RX 330 for just $429 a month.
Plus, get our super hot service that includes a service department open to 11 p.m. weekdays. Superior service without exception. Bob Orman's Arlington, Lexus, and Palatine, just 1 block west of Route 53 on Dundee Road, Palatine.
There's your change in right field. Larry Walker takes over for Jeremy Burnitz. He'll move to center field. Preston Wilson taken out of the game. And so in the flip-flop batting order, Walker will hit in the number 9 spot for the Rockies. And Scott Doman comes on. First time we've seen this young man, and the folks who have seen him haven't enjoyed it too much. He's having a terrific year for the Rockies.
Well, he had a particularly good month in July where he gave up just 1 run in 13 appearances. Overall, 0-1 record, but a 2.77 ERA, and this is 23rd appearance, all out of the bullpen. He's averaged almost a strikeout per inning while showing very good control, and He has, however, and this is encouraging for the Cubs, given up 4 home runs in just 26 innings.
So he's to work against Michael Barrett, and again that's off the plate. 1 ball, no strikes. Lee walked to open this 6th inning. He was picked off on a call that Charlie Relaford missed. Todd Walker then walked with 1 out, taking right out of the game, and now Doman to pitch. And that's swung on foul. 1-1 your count.
And Carlos Zambrano is in the on-deck circle. Lesser was up earlier, but Carlos still throwing the ball very well. So we'll see what Dusty has in mind. Of course, it all depends on the resolution of the Barrett at bat.
3-1, Rockies have the lead. Good stop by Johnson. 2 balls and a strike.
That was a very good play by Charles Johnson. Could have turned the inning around. It keeps the double play in order and keeps Walker off second base. That could have easily gone to the screen.
That's right through there. 2-2. Doman, the pride of New Orleans, Louisiana. And Barrett swung at a ball a foot off the plate.
Well, this is his first look at Doman, and there's no way that he could see that ball. So Doman might hide it very well. We haven't seen Michael Barrett swing at a pitch this far off the plate all season long.
So Zambrano hits for himself here in the 6th inning. He's 0 for 1 with a sacrifice.
Well, if he envisions Wade Miller out on the mound and maybe thinks about Minute Maid Park, he might just get a hanging breaking ball and hit it out of the park.
Ball 2. Cubs wouldn't mind Zambrano earning a walk here and bringing Patterson up with a chance to hit 1 out and give the Cubs a lead in the 6th inning.
Well, at least Carlos knows right now he's going to get a fastball. Whether the take sign is on, who knows?
It might have been.
Well, it was, because it was right down the middle. You figure you got to make him throw a strike.
Phillies have jumped on the Padres with 4 runs. They lead 4-0 in the 3rd in San Diego. They're in the 6th now in St. Louis. Montreal over the Cardinals 3-2. Arizona blasting Florida and Josh Beckett 6-1 in the 4th at the Bank One ballpark. 2 balls and a strike. Walker a short lead. The pitch is out of play, foul to the left side. 2-2. Pirates and Dodgers tied at 1. Still no score. Reds and Giants.
Well, Carlos is not getting around on the fastball, which you wonder if they will go to a breaking ball.
Out of play, foul.
This is exactly what happened in the Miller at bat. Carlos couldn't get the head of the bat out on a fastball. He spoiled a few of them, and let's see what Charles Johnson has in mind as he looks over in the dugout. I think he's getting a little help from Bob Apodaca, the pitching coach. That's a fastball, folks.
And that's a foul ball to keep the at bat alive here.
Pretty good at bat by Carlos as he's battling Doman.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Threw it right past him at 94 miles an hour. Nothing happening in the top of the 6th. Rockies lead it 3-1.
Gumbo. Oh, yeah. Here's how y'all go. Head down by the riverside.
you'll see a giant bear eating a man. You go bump with it, bump, you see old dead stinking fish. Gonna be a dog there, be foaming at the mouth. There you all are.
Sometimes the road to adventure is paved. The 245 horsepower all-wheel drive Nissan Murano.
Forgot to warn him about that hot sauce.
We created No Name Steaks that were such a hit it got us thinking, what else could No Name do? Nah. Introducing a new full line of No Name meats. Steak was just our appetizer.
This just in, 8664.
Felco. Call 866-4FEL DCO.
If you're a candidate for new windows, call Feldco.
Call 866-4FELDCO.
Feldco replacement windows stand for top quality at a low factory direct price.
Over 100,000 Chicagoland customers have chosen Feldco. Make the right call today.
Call 866-4FELDCO.
He wore a fedora. He carried a whip. And his adventures broke all box office records. Now, this summer, Adventure has two new names, Ford Explorer and Ford Expedition, some of America's most popular SUVs. Now during the One Big Event Ford authorized clearance, get 0 for 60 or 4,000 cash back, plus 1,000 clearance cash. The adventure continues, and it's now playing for a limited time.
You're watching FSN.
After tonight's Game 2, we'll have the Cubs post-game show. We'll have a full recap of our action with expert studio analysis as well. Don't miss the Cubs post-game show right after Game 2 of the Cub-Rockies series here on Fox. Zambrano on the short end of a 3-1 decision. Bottom of the 6th inning with Holliday, Johnson, and Larry Walker coming up.
An important inning for Zambrano. Dusty showed a lot of faith in him by letting him hit and ending the 6th inning. And you're going to have to deal with Larry Walker, the 3rd hitter of the inning, in the number 9 spot.
The Cubs will have the top of the order coming up in the 7th. Against either Doman or another Colorado reliever. Doman struck out the first 2 he faced and looked awfully impressive.
Last year, their number 1 starter, Sean Chacon, is now their closer. And when they take a look at 1-6 and a 6.90 ERA, you might wonder why he's still not a starter, but he saved 25.
Line left center field. That's trouble. Late break by Alou. Patterson will play that off the wall. Holliday's got 2. He's going to try for 3. The relay short hops Nomar. And it's a leadoff triple for the Colorado left fielder.
If this ball doesn't get away from Patterson, Holliday's going to stay at second. So it's going to be some interesting scoring. The relay throw wasn't good. It cost the Cubs a base. We told you about Holliday and his ability as a hitter. He's a big, strong guy. Hits this ball real hard, but it probably should have been a double. We'll watch it again. And he winds up at 3rd. Now the infield has to come in.
Charles Johnson looks at a ball outside.
And you wonder if you can get past Johnson. You think about putting Walker on 1st and playing for the double play.
I would. I don't pitch to Walker in this situation if I can avoid it at all.
Well, the Cub bullpen up and going, and they've got a left-hander. That's about all we can tell from this far away. It is Kent Mercker.
Van danced over the inside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes. If ever Carlos had a strikeout in the arsenal, this would be a great time for it.
Well, if he can drift the ball low and away out of the zone, he'll find a strikeout waiting in Johnson.
One-two count. Missed the outside corner with pitch number 99 on the night. Colorado 2 in the 1st, 1 in the 5th. And the 2-2 now. It's a full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Right at Todd Walker. That's exactly what the Cubs needed. Johnson cannot score Holiday. And now let's see if the Cubs do indeed take the bat out of Larry Walker's hands and take their chances with Miles.
Well, a good piece of pitching by Zambrano. He battled with Johnson. He won the battle. And here comes Larry Rothschild to talk about what he wants to do with Walker. Good pitch. It sinks away from Johnson. Johnson takes a look at third base after he hits it. No chance at all of Holiday with the infield in and nobody out going on contact. So now Dan Iasagna going to the mound. He wants to break up the meeting. And we'll find out what he wants to do with Walker. Walker hasn't had a whole lot of luck with Zambrano. But many times when you try to pitch around a guy intentionally, you wind up throwing a ball in the dirt and you wind up throwing a wild pitch. So a lot of pressure on Michael Barrett.
So Walker just off the bench for Colorado, facing Zambrano for the first time, and he jumps at the first ball and pops it out of play for a strike.
Infield in again at all 4 positions. And Carlos Zambrano, knowing that this is probably going to be it for him one way or the other, Larry probably said, give me everything you've got.
High and tight backs him up.
Walker with just 1 sacrifice fly this year.
Again, tied him up inside. Line to third, off the glove of Ramirez, and that's going to score a run. Hit him right in the leather, and it's a 4-1 game.
Well, you've just got very little chance when you're in, and I mean, there was no debate as far as the Cubs are concerned. If you're going to pitch to Walker, you have to play the infield in. Thus, he decided not to put him at first. Larry Walker hits a rocket. Ramirez almost makes the play, but as it trickles away, the 4th run scores. And the flip-flop batting order for Clint Hurdle is golden.
So it's a 4-1 score, 8 Colorado hits. And here is Miles. He's been on 3 times and has scored twice. Even down 3, you still feel like you have a real good shot in this park. However, the Cubs had a lot of early chances and could not cash them in.
Miles has grounded into 8 double plays this year, 7 of them from the left side. Larry Walker was sidelined with a very bad groin injury. I mean, so bad that they were wondering when he'd come back. As it turned out, there's still a lot of the season left, but for the Rockies, it won't matter.
1 strike the count to Miles. Walker a good lead, and it's popped out of play. Will Larry Walker come off the no trade and move elsewhere with a chance to win a ring for himself, certainly, but also for a Colorado franchise that has serious budgetary restraints?
Larry Walker's in the driver's seat. It depends on the team. It depends on the offer. At the end of the day, they would like to move it.
Slow roller. Zambrano's going to go to second for 1. Quick flip. And Miles able to again outrun the baseball. 1-6 forces Walker at second base. Miles again reaches, and Clayton a chance to hit with 2 outs.
Good sinker by Zambrano. And he's a great athlete. He tries to do it as quickly as possible, knowing that Miles does have good speed. But not much Garciaparra can do. He does avoid the sliding Walker, who always goes in hard at second, but they can't turn 2. And now you have to keep a close eye on Miles. It's a good stolen base situation.
He's 9 of 12 in that department, and Carlos does indeed send him back to the bag. Reds have jumped in front of the Giants 3-0 in the third. Wonder if Griffey had anything to do with that early outburst for Cincinnati tonight. Runner is going, slow breaking ball, and it's dropped by Barrett. Miles has his 10th steal, and now a hit from Clayton could add to the Colorado run total. A 2-hit night for Clayton. And pitch number 110 coming up. And it was cut on late. 0-2 now. Missed the corner inside. 1-2. The 1-2 to Clayton now. And he got him with a slow breaking ball. 1 run, 2 hits. 1 man left through 6. Cubs got to get the hitting shoes on with the top of the order coming up.
A concert hall can be acoustically tuned. If a 60,000-seat stadium can have a retractable roof. If an 80-ton bullet train can glide on air. Why not your SUV? At GMC, our engineers don't just ask questions, they have answers. The GMC Envoy line of SUVs. Professional-grade engineering. It's not more than you need, just more than you're used to.
Save on all your favorite music this week at Circuit City. All CDs are on sale for just $11.99 or less all week long. So now's the best time to save on rock, R&B, rap, and country. From today's biggest artists like Brandy, Velvet Revolver, The Beastie Boys, Jadakiss, and more. You'll find thousands of titles to choose from, so hurry in and save today. All CDs are on sale for just $11.99 or less. This week only at Circuit City.
NASCAR This Morning, the only pre-race show that puts you on track with up-to-the-minute standings, interviews, and in-depth analysis you won't find anywhere else. NASCAR This Morning, Sunday on FSN.
This is it.
Introducing the full-size 5.6-liter V8 Nissan Armada.
Where are we?
Share the adventure.
After 6, Colorado leads by a 4-1 score. Here's a look, Steve, at our Ford game summary.
Well, surprisingly, nothing has gone out of the ballpark yet, but there's been a couple of doubles, a couple of triples, and so far the Rockies have had the best of it. That pass ball is the only way the Cubs have been able to score.
Patterson with a bunt, gets it past the mound, and a good start for this 7th inning.
Corey's getting better and better at that. I believe that's 9 bunt hits for him this year. And if you're going to hit leadoff, you draw the occasional walk, you get a bunt hit. It's parlayed into a 2-for-3 night, but on base 4 times for Patterson, and a great way to start the 7th.
Now Nomar stands in. Patterson on base, by the way, 3 times tonight. Twice via hits. Let's see if Nomar can move him along here. Big swing and a miss. Nothing in 1. Rockies have out hit us 8-5 now.
Well, this youngster's got pretty good stuff, and it is the first time the Cubs have seen him. And the Rocky bullpen continues to work.
Big hole right side. Double play ball maybe. Clayton to second for one. Good hard slide by Patterson. And Nomar at first with one out.
Well, both teams are playing the game the way you should play it. Both teams going in very hard at second base. We've seen Corey Patterson going hard. We've seen Walker going exceptionally hard. Both Walkers, in fact, Todd and Larry. And this is what you have to do. You got to take out the pivot man. Now, it's doubtful it would have been a double play, but Corey doesn't leave any speculation. He just takes Miles out.
You never know. And keeps a man aboard for Moises Alou, who is hitless tonight. 4-1 Colorado. We're in the 7th already tonight. And high and away for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. Sammy Sosa waiting next. Three, 4, 5 men tonight are hitless in the game.
Well, this guy's given up 4 home runs. And if Moises can hit one here, the Cubs are right back in this. Pretty much in this ballpark or Wrigley Field with the wind blowing out, or now Philadelphia, you really can never get a big enough lead late.
2 balls, no strikes. Nomar took about 7 hard steps off first base and put on the brakes. A 3-0 count for Moises now.
And Doman having some problems with the strike zone. Sammy always gets the 3-0 green light. Let's see if Dusty gives it to Moises. If he gets one middle in.
Four straight brings the potential tying run to the plate.
Bob Apodaca looking down in the bullpen to find out if his reliever is ready. Here he comes.
I think Steve Reed's the man loosening up, the submarining right-hander. So 2 on with 1 out here in our 7th.
Well, normally Bob Apodaca will leave him in if he's the guy that comes to the mound, and that's what happens. When Hurdle comes to the mound, pretty much your night is over. So he's going to allow the youngster to face Sammy Sosa, representing the tying run.
For Cub offense, here's the biggest spot in the ball game to this point. Let's see if Sammy can provide a big hit. He's bounced to third. He's been hit by a pitch, and he's flied to right. A fly ball to right, by the way, sent then right fielder Jeremy Burnitz all the way to the scoreboard, where he was able to make the play.
What I liked about that one is that Sammy stayed in and he didn't pull off that ball. That's a good sign.
Swing and a drive, belted left field. Sosa's tied this game. And a milestone home run that ties him with Mr. October, Reggie Jackson. New life for the Cubs. It's 4-4.
Sammy knows he got this one. He gets a fastball. It's on the inner portion, and he ties it up with one swing of the bat. You stay close with some thunder in the lineup, and you got a chance.
Driven down the right field line, deep by Ramirez. And out of play. Strike one to the Cub third baseman. So for Sosa, 24 homers, 55 driven in. And the 7th inning wildness of Doman pays off handsomely for the Cubs. And that one, and they're going to toss him from the game. That one buzzes Ramirez inside, and Doman is thrown out of the game.
Well, in the mind of Dan Iasagna. Doman threw that one inside intentionally.
And Hurdle saying, I got to be allowed to pitch inside. Now Miles got hit earlier, Sosa got hit, and now Doman's going nuts. He's been ejected from this game after firing a mid-90s fastball inside to Ramirez.
Now remember, there was no warnings given, so the manager isn't ejected. You don't have to hit a guy to be ejected. All you have to do in the umpire's mind is intentionally throw at somebody. Might have been an overreaction by Dan Iasagna. Certainly Clint Hurdle feels that way. It's an 0-1 count. He throws a fastball. It just misses Ramirez. And Dan Iasagna says he's seen enough.
Now, unless there was something said after the Sosa home run that we didn't see, and certainly couldn't hear from upstairs, I'm shocked that they tossed him from this ball game. I mean, the last thing you want to do is hit somebody in this high altitude home run hitter's paradise.
Well, again, I believe an overreaction by Dan Iasagna because that represents a go-ahead run.
And it didn't hit him. It's the most difficult thing, I think, for the umpires is to determine intent.
Yeah, you can't appeal it. It's a judgment call. That's the judgment of Iasagna. The bullpen was up and going. He had given up 3 runs, and he leaves the game.
So Clint Hurdle wearing out the chewing gum as he stands atop the bump. A Sammy Sosa 3-run homer has locked this game up. 4-4 is our score.
Calling all Cubs fans. Bring your favorite team home year-round.
Well, after Clint Hurdle handed the ball to Steve Reed, he went toward home plate umpire Dan Iasagna, and the conversation started very pleasantly, got heated in a hurry, and now Clint Hurdle has been ejected.
Well, it looks like Clint's head is going to blow off. He does look like Mr. Tomato Head there, and look, he's really excited, I think justifiably so, because the ball didn't hit Ramirez. He is the go-ahead run. Again, you can't argue a judgment call anyway. You're not going to win it. So he's ejected along with his pitcher. Steve Reed comes in. But the big news is that the Cubs have tied it at 4 on a 3-run Sammy Sosa home run. So after getting plunked earlier in the game for the first time this year, he ties it up with the first home run of the night.
And after all the histrionics, here's what happened before the Ramirez matchup.
High fastball. Sammy knows he got it. He just missed it last time up, and this time it went way back. So Ramirez with a 1-1 count will face Reed.
21st home run in this ballpark for Sammy Sosa, and the few Rockies fans in the ballpark tonight not too happy with Dan Iasagna. 2 balls and a strike to Aramis. And that one at the knees, a late call, 2-2.
Noman's now given up 5 home runs in just 27 innings of work. Reed comes on for the 44th time and an ERA of 2.5.
Driven out of play, right side and foul. 2-2.
Now Reed normally pretty tough on the right-handers because of that sidearm delivery. Very vulnerable to the left-hander.
Colorado doesn't have a lefty in their bullpen, by the way. All right-handed is Colorado's relief corps. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ramirez, the 5th man to hit in the inning. Eric Lee would be next. Broken bat towards shallow right center and out of reach of Miles. That bat goes down a hero. And Ramirez aboard in front of Derek Lee.
And that's why Aramis is hitting .325 this year, because he can take a pitch and muscle it into right field. The bat just shatters. He's left holding the handle, and Miles can't get to the duck snort.
Go to your room. I'm not kidding. Go to your room.
I don't have one.
Not a clean one.
But they don't clean it anyway. What difference does it make?
Out of play foul for Derek Lee. Strike one from Reed.
It's really a nice policy. They never clean the room. They just give you about 100 towels. Use them at your leisure.
But you're doing your part for the environment. That's the good news. No balls and a strike. Derek has reached on an infield hit. He's bounced into a forced play and walked tonight. And that one sweeps outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Reed's been around a long time. This is his 782nd career appearance. Hard hit ball. That's through the hole for a hit. And now here's where it gets real interesting. The 2 right-handed bats in front of Todd Walker have reached with hits. Now you've got a left-hand hitter with 2 on and 1 out.
Walker's been on base a couple of times. Remember, they've shifted in the outfield. Wilson started. Now it's Burnitz in center. It's Walker in right. Although Larry Walker throws well, he doesn't throw quite as well as he used to.
Couple of walks for Todd Walker, and he swings and misses.
Another thing to bear in mind, it is Ramirez at second base. He's not running quite yet 100%. And you look at the hits by direction, you see Walker likes to pull the ball.
Right center. Look at that hole. Off the plate, evens up the count. 1 ball, 1 strike. Two balls and a strike. 4 Cub hits in this inning, a walk as well. Doman and Clint Hurdle run from the ballpark. The 2-1. Pretty good cut, but out of play at 2-2. Griffey Jr. a couple of hits tonight for the Reds. Adam Dunn a 3-run homer. Cincinnati leads San Francisco 4-0.
And for the Cubs to pull off a win here, there is ground to be gained. Maybe in the division, certainly in the wild card.
Fly ball right center field. That's going to get down. Ramirez will score. Lee on his way to third. He will be stopped. RBI double for Walker, and the Cubs have the lead. You called it. He loves to pull it. He hit the vacant spot in the Coors Field real estate.
Well, he's now 3 for 3 lifetime against Reed, who just doesn't match up well with left-handers. A side wheeler, the left-handers see the ball very well against him. And for some reason, Burnitz was playing him around toward left center. It left the gap. The Cubs have taken the lead. And still 2 runners in scoring position. Now the infield in at all 4 positions for Michael Barrett.
Missed the inside corner. Ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. And Tom Goodwin into the on-deck circle would bat for Zambrano here, who's in line to win this game in Denver tonight now. 5-4, Cubs off the deck to lead.
And remember, this rally keyed by a couple of things. A leadoff bunt by Patterson and a good slide at second to make sure there was no double play, and then the bats started booming.
Ground ball right side on contact, and an easy play will peg Derek Lee at the plate. 2 outs.
And nothing wrong with that play because it was a contact play. No real judgment as far as the base runner is concerned. When contact is on, you're running when the ball's hit. Hiles does a good job of it, and they cut down Lee at the plate. And now Tom Goodwin does indeed have an opportunity to pinch hit. Runners at first and second.
Sobrano goes 6 innings, 4 runs, 6 strikeouts, couple of walks. And he gave up 8 hits tonight.
It was a battle for Carlos tonight, but he stayed in the game, and he allowed this offense to come back and take the lead.
Now let's see if Tom can provide a big 2-out hit and plate an insurance run. A 1-run lead, nice to have. But a couple more would be even sweeter. And more pasture available in right center if Tom can pull one. And that's off the plate, ball 2, 2-0. Reed wants to know where that pitch is. You know, Charles Johnson's making his feelings known as well, but facing the pitcher, no one else in the ballpark knows it.
Cubs have one of their lefties throwing in the bullpen. It was Kent Merker. It appears to be him.
Ball 3. Anderson waits next. Another Cub pinch hitter slowly but surely starting to get healthier, and that's Todd Hollinsworth. He's hitting off the tee.
Well, he told me that it's probably less than a week away.
Taking all the way, 3 balls and a strike.
And it's a good situation to hit right now for Goodwin because he knows he's going to get a fastball. He has Holiday close to the line and very shallow in left field. A huge gap in right center if he can pull it.
He takes ball 4, and Patterson, the 10th man to hit in the inning. Boy, Reed's had an awful time throwing strikes.
Here comes Bob Apodaca. Not much you can say to a guy who's always been vulnerable against the left-handers, except you got to get one of them out.
So Jamie Wright, 5 innings and a third, gives up a run. Doman, 3 runs in an inning. Reed's added a run here in the 7th, and Patterson, who began this frame with a beautifully placed bunt single, hits for the 2nd time. This is the 2nd time in this series already the Cubs have batted around against the Rockies. Walker at 3rd, Barrett at 2nd, Tom Goodwin at 1st. Oh, for another 2-out hit from Patterson. Off the plate, no place to put him. 1 ball, no strikes. I'm sure the fine general manager of the Cubs, Jim Hendry's, on the edge of his seat back in Chicago tonight.
Well, I don't know. This is pretty late for him to be up.
1 ball, 1 strike.
I know John McDonough is asleep.
Well, John's got to get ready for the badminton tournament at the office tomorrow.
I know they don't work when we're not home. There's no doubt about that.
1 ball, 1 strike. High and away, good eye. I think Corey, again, it's only a brief sampling, but I think he's relishing the challenge that is the leadoff spot for this Cub team.
He's made some great strides just in this season, so you know he has a world of talent. Did you ever think you'd see 9 bunted hits out of Corey Patterson?
Back toward us. Maybe in 2 years, but not 1.
Well, he's staying around long enough, and Sonny Jackson, Cub coach, has worked with him at bunting both ways, pushing it to 3rd if he sees the 3rd baseman back, and with his speed dragging it. If you can get it by the pitcher, it's going to be a base hit 80% of the time.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Again, bases loaded. The pitch. Swing and a high fly ball slicing down the left field line. Holiday will have no play. But there were some comparisons in the Chicago newspapers yesterday or the day before comparing this man's talent to a Hall of Famer, Lou Brock. That's a wonderful, wonderful compliment.
Long way to go yet.
Yes, indeed.
3,000 some hits difference.
With no offense, one would rather be compared to Lou than Greg.
Oh, well, yes. Especially speed-wise. But Corey is really still in the infancy stages of what's going to be an excellent career.
He's really battling Reed here in this very long 7th inning. The 2-2 count. And he chased one off the plate that time, and Reed escapes. But the Cubs score 4 times. A big Sammy Sosa home run and Todd Walker double gives the Cubs a 1-run lead. On Sunday, August 15th, the Cubs will face the Dodgers at 1:20. Arrive early. The first 10,000 adults 18 and older get a Cubs home baseball cap. Compliments of Charter One Bank. Well, a 1-run game. The Cubs are in front now. Last half of the 7th inning. And former Colorado Rocky Kent Mercker is on to face the middle of this Rocky order.
Mercker at 2-0. The ERA has slipped under 2, and he's on for the 45th time. There you look at some very impressive numbers. And he's got to face Hilton, a red-hot Vinny Castilla, and Jeremy Burnett.
Frustrating night for Helton tonight. He's walked and popped out twice. Zambrano, 4 earned runs, 8 hits in 6 innings, could win his 11th tonight if the Cub pen can hold on to this lead. First pitch swinging is Helton, and that's slicing out of play, foul for a strike. Now, 6th inning. Padres are losing 7-2 to the Phillies, so good news in the wild card chase, at least to this point, with work to be done still here in Denver.
Well, this is one of those Rocky teams that don't have an abundance of power, but 3 of the guys that do have power are the 3 guys that are going to look at Kent Mercker.
1-1 count. Don't forget Larry Walker also in the lineup now. He's hitting in the number 9 spot. Let's worry about him maybe in the 9th. Slow roller. It'll kick off the right side of the mound. That should help. And it takes care of Todd Helton, who's 0 for 3 tonight. Can Mercker solve Vinny Castilla? 2 RBIs, 2 hits. The all-time hits leader in baseball history from the nation of Mexico is Vinny Castilla. 1 ball, no strikes. Popped up back toward us.
And Sandy Alomar showing that he is a very intelligent fellow. Knowing he's got a pull hitter, he is way back out of the coach's box.
It's not quite Rene Lachemann-esque, but it's pretty close. Ball and a strike. Speaking of Latch, he's coaching with Seattle again this year. Mariners having a real tough time of it. They lost a doubleheader yesterday. Baltimore beat them again tonight, 6-3.
And his brother Marcel is a pitching consultant to Dan O'Dowd here in Colorado.
That one floats inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Yankees in extra innings beat Oakland tonight 8-6. Texas shut out Detroit 8-zip. Cleveland, boy, they can hit. They pound Toronto 14-5. Tampa Bay beat the 2nd place team in the AL East 5-4 tonight. That just missed the corner. Mercker wanted it. 3 balls, 2 strikes. The pitch of decision for Castilla is cut on and missed. 2 up, 2 down.
Good battle won by Kent Mercker. He throws a fastball by him. I don't think Castilla could believe it. He got the fastball he was looking for. Merker in that at-bat overmatched him.
This is where Merker first pitched after suffering that seizure on the mound with the Anaheim Angels. He did not pitch in 2001. Came back with the Rockies in 2002 and pitched 58 times for them. Then went to Cincinnati and Atlanta last year, where his career really was reborn.
Just throw it the left arm and get the ball over the plate with something on it. He'll stay around for a while. And Merker made the transition from a starter, and a good one, to a Pensman.
He's got 2 no-hitters to his credit. One a combined no-hitter, the first in National League history, and one all by himself while with the Braves against the Los Angeles Dodgers out at Dodger Stadium. Base is empty for Burnitz. And he's way ahead now, 3 balls and a strike. Colorado, you figure, will go to the bench with the pitcher's spot due next.
Well, with 2 out and nobody on, this is where a home run hitter just airs it out if it's close. I'd like to see him stay away.
Did he go around?
He did.
Yes, he did. 3-2.
And he was thinking swing regardless of where the ball was. It was a mile outside, and Burnitz couldn't check his swing. He should be on first. He's not, and he went too far.
Payoff pitch. Fly ball. Well out of play.
It was a good changeup. Merker, unlike some left-handers, will throw that changeup to a left-hand hitter. And he had Burnitz well out in front of it. That's the fastball away. He wants to try to sink it there.
San Diego coming back. 3-2. Popped him up. Can anybody make a play? Barrett near the Colorado dugout. Cannot get there in time.
You know, you're not going to get a whole lot of help in that dugout. Unfortunately, Michael Barrett, knowing how valuable he is to this ball club, didn't go charging head first. He knew exactly where he was. Unfortunately, the ball just out of reach. And Burnitz staying alive in a good battle with Merker. Cubs have handled Helton very well tonight. Normally, when you do that, you beat the Rockies.
That was one of your keys tonight. So far, it's worked out that way. 3 balls, 2 strikes again to Burnitz. 1-run Cub lead, bottom 7. Popped up again.
That's back this way. Where's your net?
Back at the hotel with my computer.
Yeah, but if in fact someone does ever come into the room, they're going to get all the scores from tonight's game.
And a lot of dirty towels. 3 balls, 2 strikes. The pitch. He walked him. And Merker handles the return throw for Michael Barrett with the bare hand.
Well, it was a very good battle. Unfortunately, that one a little too far inside. And it's Todd Green coming on a pinch hit, but he won't face Merker as Dusty comes out. And that's going to be it. I believe it's going to be Kyle Farnsworth.
And Farnsworth will indeed get the summons. And let's see if Green can avoid hitting Michael Barrett in the glove with a long swing of the bat. 1-run Cub, game 5-4, bottom 7. More activity coming up from the Cub bullpen after this timeout.
Comcast is working hard, so you won't miss a moment. We're working hard to bring you crystal clear pictures with digital cable. We're working hard to bring you high-speed cable internet. And at Comcast, our promise is to continue bringing new technologies home to you first, to keep you in touch, informed, and in sync, with everything you need to stay connected, now and in the future. All from one single source, Comcast.
Hey fans, ever dreamed of being a sportscaster? Presenting the Sam Adams Sportscaster for a Day contest.
Fox Sports Net and Sam Adams are teaming up to send one lucky winner to serve as a sportscaster during the Northsiders September trip to Florida. To find out how to enter and where you'll need to go to try out, log on to fsnchicago.com or head to samadams.com and click on Chicago Baseball Broadcaster Tryouts. You could be a sportscaster for a day. Brought to you by Fox Sports Net and Sam Adams. Always a good decision.
You've been waiting all year for this moment to arrive. The one and only clearance at your Lincoln Mercury dealer. A short time when you can get the best savings of the year on every Lincoln and Mercury, including for best selection.
Very busy, very productive year so far for Kyle Farnsworth.
He comes on for the 56th time, the ERA down in the low threes. He inherits Burnitz at first base. Green's not going to hit against him, but Mark Sweeney is. And Sweeney is their #1 guy off the bench. If you were watching with us last night, they ended the game with Sweeney in the on-deck circle. He has a home run as a pinch hitter. He's also driven in 14 runs in 35 at-bats on 10 hits. So he's been very productive off the bench, and it's up to the Farns to nail down the last out here in the 7th.
With his appearance, Kyle Farnsworth now 5th place on the all-time Cub relief appearance list. He'll move Bruce Sutter 1 spot down. This is his 301st relief outing for the Cubs tonight.
It's pretty impressive. He's still a very young man.
So 2 outs, runner aboard, and high and tight to Sweeney. 1 ball, no strikes.
Career versus the Cubs, pretty impressive. Sweeney's always been able to hit off the bench, and that's why he's still around.
Fly ball, right center field, and deep. Will it stay in the park? No. Pinch hit, 2-run home run, and the Rockies are in front.
Well, last night, Clint Hurdle didn't have a chance to play that final card. Tonight he did. It's still early enough for the Cubs to come back, but Carlos Zambrano won't win this one, and Sweeney, for the 2nd time off the bench, has homered. He's now driven in 16. Low fastball. Left-handed hitter's dream in this ballpark at around 390 feet. It's gone. And not much doubt about that.
And for a pinch hitter.
Not exactly Kirk Gibson-esque, but pretty good.
And for a pinch hitter, that's the pinnacle. 1 swing turns the game around. And so it's the Rockies now in front, 6-5. Here's Holiday. He pops it up. At second, Todd Walker should have an easy play, and it almost popped out of the glove. Damage done by Sweeney in a pinch. A 2-run, 2-out home run gives Colorado a 6-5 lead.
You don't have to leave civilization to find adventure. The 245 horsepower all-wheel drive Nissan Murano.
Give your engine what it wants. Pennzoil, with time-release molecules, delivers non-stop protection throughout the life of your oil. Not just oil, Pennzoil.
Whether you like Jack Daniels mixed, straight, or on the rocks, there's really only one way to drink it. Responsibly.
You can elect to go left
can elect to go right. Or you can be an independent. Summer Jam. Join the party now at your Cadillac dealer. Cadillac. Breakthrough. Visit your Chicagoland area Cadillac dealer for this attractive offer. Residency restrictions apply.
Cubs baseball is brought to you in part by Cadillac. Bold vehicles defying convention. Robert Morris, Rio College for the real world. And by Nissan, who invites you to shift the way you move through the world.
Here's the upcoming schedule. One more with the Rockies, then 3 this weekend in San Francisco. And we return home August 10th against the Padres. Then the Dodgers come in. That is your upcoming Cubs schedule as we head now to the top of the 8th.
Adam Bernero comes in for the 10th time. There's a lot of youngsters in this Colorado bullpen, and this is one of them. Now, he's made a couple of starts as well as worked out of the pen.
Bernero, originally a Detroit Tiger, last year went 1-12 for them in 17 outings.
Well, that's exactly what Glendon Rush did, and look at the year he's turned around to have with the Cubs.
Rockies drafted this guy back in 1996, didn't sign with Colorado, went to junior college, then went to Armstrong Atlantic State University in Georgia. And there's a shot left center field off the bat of Nomar. That ball's going to bounce and hit off the top of the fence. Lead-off double for Garciaparra, a 2-hit game for him. And finally, Coors is playing like Coors now.
I was just thinking, this is what you expect in this ballpark. Nomar gets a fastball on the inner portion, served up right in the sweet spot, and he hits it into the gap. That's the tying run at second base for Moises Alou.
He's 0 for 3 with a walk and a run scored. This thing's not over by a long shot. Even if Colorado takes a lead into the 9th, Chacon has been vulnerable for Colorado. Let's turn the game around on them, however, in the 8th. A strike called to Alou.
Bernero's been pretty tough on the right-handers. They've hit just .238. Left-handers have murdered him. But he won't see one for a while in the Cub lineup.
Back to the screen. 1-2.
Sean Chacon is throwing in the bullpen for the Rockies.
Mike Remlinger up for the Cubs. The 0-2. Off his thumbs and into the seats. Big crowd tonight. Have not yet heard the attendance figure, but it's going to push upwards of 40,000. We're going to have jam-packed crowds in San Francisco all weekend. You talk about a tough ticket. That one real tough. All weekend long in the home of the Giants. 0-2 to Alou. Garciaparra, big lead at second. Good stop, Johnson. 1-2 now. Arizona clinging to a lead, 9-6. Randy Johnson taken out now. That game in the 7th with the Marlins. Randy hasn't won in a while. 1-2 count. Tomahawked foul at the plate. Good start for the 8th inning. A little low. 2-2 now. Joins us with that unmistakable batting stance. Digs in now, knock-kneed, no batting gloves, and he chops it foul over the outstretched arm of Sammy Sosa, who waits to hit behind him. Cubs trying to win their 4th in 5 tries against these Rockies tonight. Down 1, but in great shape in this 8th inning. Fly ball, shallow left center field. No chance for Nomar to tag up on this one. Burnitz will make the play. One man down.
Moises just rifled the bat down up the first base line because he failed to move along Garciaparra. That looked like an off-speed pitch, and Lou most unhappy with this at bat. And now Sammy, whose 3-run homer evened it up for the Cubs last inning, will have an opportunity.
Let's see if he can pass Reggie Jackson and flip the game around for the Cubs here. He hit .563, as Steve mentioned last time up. The Cubs will be happy with a hit. They're playing him awfully deep in the outfield.
Yeah.
He hits it to center.
If you're going to come back against any team, it's these Rockies. Worst ERA in the National League at over .560.
1 strike. Fly ball, center field, pretty deep, not deep enough. Nomar will tag on this play. Burnitz with the grab. And a runner at third now with 2 outs. And you can see the importance of the Outlew at bat with the Sosa-Bernero sequence.
Well, now it puts a little more pressure on Ramirez, and Jamie Quirk, who is now managing in the absence of Clint Hurdle, will go to the bullpen. And it's going to be the closer, Sean Chacon, asked to get 4 outs. This was a guy who started last year, who saved 25, but who has a robust ERA. It's way up there.
So Chacon will come in. Garciaparra, the tying run, 90 feet away. It's 6-5 Colorado, 2 outs, top of the 8th. Well, it doesn't matter how you save them, but that you do might be stretched a bit when you talk about Sean Chacon. Steve, look at that ERA approaching 7 with 7 blown saves in 32 attempts.
And the opponent's hitting .293. That's a whopping total for a closer or anybody else, but he's on for the 48th time. And he has given up 9 home runs in 45 2/3 innings. He inherits Nomar Garciaparra 90 feet away from tying up the ball game. The right-handers have murdered Chacon. Surprisingly, the left-handers have had a lot of problems.
31 for 90 are the right-hand hitters against the Rocky closer. And a wild pitch. That one's going to tie the game. How about that? Thank you very much. 6-6.
That's wild pitch number 7. And Chacon has blown another save with 1 pitch. So much for that lead. The Cubs have tied it up. And they're looking for more here in the 8th. Nomar scores the tying run. Charles Johnson with absolutely no chance on this one.
Swing and a high fly ball belted left center field. Back goes Holiday. That ball is gone. Ramirez puts the Cubs in front.
Ramirez with home run number 23 has driven in his 70th run. The Cubs have taken the lead. Welcome to the game, Sean Chacon. Wild pitch, a bomb. And Ramirez pretty much knows he got most of it when it left the bat.
That brings up Derek Lee. He's got a couple of hits tonight. So Chacon, 8th blown save. Good rip at that ball. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 8th inning. Johnson, Walker, and Miles are coming up.
Still a while to go in this one.
Yes, sir. 2 balls and a strike.
Chacon last year was 11-8 as a starter, 23 appearances, all starts.
Out of play. Off the bat of Derek Lee.
Well, they decided to put him into the bullpen because they desperately needed a closer. They still need one.
Another rifle shot. This one to left field. Only one Rocky reliever has retired the first man faced, and that was Doman, and he got thrown out of the game. So a wild pitch, a home run, and a rope of a single brings up Todd Walker. And Chacon has fared, as Steve mentioned, much better against the lefty hitters, oddly enough. 3-hit game for Lee. Walker has an RBI double. He's walked twice. And Derek might want to make sure he really steps on the bag at first. He was picked off, albeit questionably, in the 6th inning. Fly ball on a breaking ball. That one hammered toward the bullpens. Back goes Burnett. That one's going to go. A 2-run homer.
Todd Walker's always loved to hit in his ballpark. Last 2 at-bats, consecutive innings, double and a homer to go with a couple of walks. The Cubs lead by 3. And that was some sort of breaking ball that did absolutely nothing but leave the yard.
13 home runs for Walker. That ties his career high. And he and Ramirez go deep in this 8th inning. The Cubs now lead it 9-6.
Sammy hit a 3-run homer. A solo shot for Ramirez, a 2-run shot for Walker.
Another hard hit ball. Miles from the outfield grass. Low throw, and Helton digs it out. Inning over, but what an 8th inning for the Cubs. 4 runs come in. Chacon blows his 8th save. Now it's in the hands of the Cub pen again, leading 9-6, last of the 8th.
When you think of
update around the NL Central, Houston has lost to Atlanta 5-4 as the Braves have won 10 of their last 12. In St. Louis, Montreal and the Cardinals tied at 4 in the 9th. Alex Gonzalez 3 for 4, a game-tying double in the 8th, 2 stolen bases. Guys, back to you.
Way to go, Alex.
Well, they've rediscovered the flying feet of Alex Gonzalez. 2 stolen bases.
Well, we're happy for Alex, and we wish him well, except for the 6 games the Cubs have left with the Expos this year.
Pounding on the Cardinals is not necessarily a bad idea.
Absolutely right. Now let's see if Kyle can work an uneventful 8th here with Johnson, Walker, and Miles coming up. And there's a fly ball hammered left field. 1 pitch, 1 more run. That's the 2nd home run given up by Kyle in this game.
All of a sudden, this tough and tight, well-executed baseball game has turned into what the Cubs have seen for a while, home run derby. Johnson hitting his 12th. He's driven in 42. He has a double to go with it. And here comes Dusty, and I think he's going to take down Farnsworth and possibly make a double switch. So Charles Johnson getting a fastball, inner portion, and it goes way back.
Well, that'll hurt the old ERA. A third of an inning, 2 hits, 2 runs, 2 homers. No walks or strikeouts for Kyle Farnsworth, who did not have a very good performance here tonight. Those have been rarities. This is only the 4th time in the last 23 games Kyle has pitched that he's given up anything. So he had an off night. And let's see what Dusty Baker has in mind. Mike Remlinger will come in. Mark Grudzielanek will spell Todd Walker. Double switch, 9-7. The wildness at Coors continues after this. Double switch brings Mark Grudzielanek into the game. He'll hit the number 9 spot. That's due up first when we get to the top of the 9th inning. And on to pitch Mike Remlinger, the 4th Cub hurler on the night. If you look at that scoreboard, Steve, look at the last 2 innings. 11 runs so far, and the Rockies don't have an out yet in their half of the 8th.
What it looks like is Wrigley Field, the wind's blowing in the first 2/3 of the game, and all of a sudden the wind shifts. But here in Colorado, the wind never much of a factor. It's always very lively, and the hitters have taken over.
So it is a 2-run Cub game, and Larry Walker.
And by the way, he is not above bunting to third base. They need a base runner. Walker's done it before.
Miles and Clayton to follow. 1-0 the count. Mike missed the outside corner there. 2 balls and a strike. He's really been throwing the ball very, very well of late for the Cubs.
Yeah, last time he pitched, he looked like he had as good a stuff as we've seen in a while. Key with arm surgery is coming back and keeping the consistency.
Walker swung through that. 2 balls, 2 strikes. A war of attrition. Whose bullpen will give up less? That'll tell the tale tonight. 2-2 now to the Rockies right fielder Larry Walker, who wants time as Mike takes a little too much time.
It's putting the sleeper on him.
Ground ball towards short. Third hop. Nomar can't make the play cleanly.
If he picks it clean, it's going to be a very close play at first, so it'll be an interesting scoring decision. Garciaparra knew he had to come in and get it and get rid of it quickly. He doesn't get it. Walker with still very good speed, and we'll have to wait and see how they rule that one.
So Walker on base twice, and that's E6. First in the National League for Garciaparra, 7th overall this year. And here's Miles. He's been on base 4 times tonight and has scored twice. He hits from the right side for the first time and looks at the ball low. 1 ball, no strikes.
This is the first time in the series he's turned around to hit from his weaker side. He's still hitting a respectable .274 as a right-hand hitter.
One in, one on. There's nobody out in the bottom of the 8th.
Well, from this side, however, he is probably a step slower. And with more of a tendency to ground into a double play, he's grounded into 8 of them.
Walker a short lead, and that's fouled off Michael Barrett. And Miles down in the count, a ball, 2 strikes. Love to get Miles here and take your chances with Clayton hitting the ball on the ground. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 9-7 Cub lead. Out of play off the top of the screen.
One of the things they like about Miles is that from either side of the plate, he's very difficult to strike out. But then again, he hasn't faced the Remlinger straight change yet.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And there it was. Down he goes, one man down.
This guy had struck out only 32 times in 340 at bats, but the straight change just mystified him. Great pitch by Remlinger. Miles well out in front of it, and that's a big first out.
Now Clayton, the hitter. Let's see if he can hit the ball on the ground and get us out of this 8th. Cardinals have beaten Montreal tonight, 5-4, the final in St. Louis. They get a 9th inning run this evening. And a ball high. Giants have come back to tie the Reds, 5-5 now. I'll let you know if Barry Bonds hit another one out tonight. He hit 2 yesterday. It is only 13 home runs away from 700. Simply astounding. 1-0 the count, 1 on, 1 out for Clayton. At the belt, he took it to even the count. Dodgers leading the Pirates 2-1. I'll give you one guess as to who's in the game in the 9th for LA.
Wilson Alvarez. Wilson Delgado.
Keep going.
Wilson Phillips.
Pretty good band, by the way.
Nah, not Carmen Fanzo.
You
But
got a
it
letter
is
from
the
him,
big,
didn't you?
yes, I did. The big bespeckled right-hander. Who, by the way, gave up a couple in last night's game. Still got to save.
No problems tonight. Dodgers win 2-1.
He was very lucky.
Ground ball, kick save and a beauty. Right to Grudzielanek, steps on the bag, low throw, Lee digs it out, and the inning is over. Mike Remlinger deflected it, I think, to Mark Grudzielanek, who turns the double play, and we go to the 9th with a 2-run lead.
Searching other websites for low fares? Better get comfortable. Just go to Southwest.com for Southwest Airlines $34 internet specials from Chicago Midway to cities in the Midwest. Purchased by August 5th.
You are now free to move about the country.
I'm out. I guess I win.
Funny how a quality beer can turn a bad hand into a winner. Ooh, Samuel Adams, always a good decision.
This summer, the Fast Lane is under new ownership. Supercharged Grand Prix Comp G, V8 GXP, and 350 horsepower GTO. Together for the first time in the most thrilling performance of the season. Pontiac Summer Drive, the performance of the year, the ride of a lifetime. Now playing at Pontiac dealers everywhere.
Introducing a delicious twist on ordinary chicken salad. Arby's Market Fresh Chicken Salad. Try a sandwich, a wrap, or a bowl. One great chicken salad, 3 ways to enjoy it.
That's exactly right. The Cubs postgame show is next, hopefully with happy totals to report. And a good way toward that end was the way at the bottom of the 8th inning. Double play ball off the bat of Royce Clayton.
Well, Mike Remlinger might have gotten a piece of that deflecting off his foot. It's a double play to get out of the inning to preserve the 2-run lead. And we'll see if Rem, acting like a real good goalie, and I think he just might have gotten that, so we'll call it 1-4-3. And Alan Simpson, a fine senator and a reliever for the Rockies, comes in.
After his stint in Washington, he figured he needed a few more retirement bucks.
And for the 18th time, and the ERA looks like he might have spent some time in the Senate.
Or with the Senators.
It is very difficult to maintain a low earned run average in this ballpark. Mark Grudzielanek, who came in the flip-flop batting order, getting his first at bat, and he's quickly down 0-2.
Rockies got to figure out what to do about Sean Chacon. That one up the middle. No kick save from the Rockies hurler. Leadoff single for Grudzielanek, whose bat is coming to life. He had a double and a run last night. Couple more would not hurt.
Dusty Baker has a very good dilemma. He's got two starting quality second basemen. And it's hard to get both of them a whole lot of at-bats. Now Walker was very good tonight. Grudzielanek comes in, he gets a base hit. Mark is certainly hitting the ball a whole lot better, coming back from an injury and getting more at-bats.
9-7, runner at first. Patterson lays down another beautiful bunt. Simpson's got to hurry, and the play not made. It's off the glove of Hilton into short right field. On his way to third, Grudzielanek, he'll stop there. Another bunt hit for Patterson in this game.
And look at the pressure he puts on the defense if he just gets the bunt down. Worst case scenario, you get a sacrifice. It's going to be ruled a hit and an error, I'm sure. No way to get Corey at first. And it goes E1, base hit E1. The first error of the night for the Rockies. Corey with 3 hits and a walk. Been on base 4 times.
Boy, what a luxury that is at the top of the order. And that's a ball off the plate. 1 ball, no strikes to Nomar Garciaparra, his first 2-hit game as a Cub.
Well, nobody really knew when the light would go on for Corey Patterson, but he can bunt 250.
He's going to try to steal, and that ball shot toward left. Holiday will drift back. That'll be deep enough to score Grudzielanek. They'll concede the run. It's a 10-7 game. RBI for Garciaparra, his third as a Cub. And an RBI a game over the final 2 months will suit the Cubs just fine out of the number 2 spot.
Well, a stolen base, 2 hits, and a sacrifice fly for Nomar. The top of the order, very potent for the Cubs. The addition of just 1 man. Garciaparra in the 2 spot. You put Corey up the leadoff spot, and Moises in the 3rd spot. This becomes a completely different and very potent lineup. That was supposed to be a pitch out that was almost over the plate.
It's somewhat reminiscent, and again, let's not overstate the case. Patterson's still very much in the infancy stages of being a leadoff hitter. But remember the spark Kenny Lofton gave this team in the leadoff spot last year. It totally changed the entire dynamic of the Cub offense. And you're seeing the potential of that the last couple of games with Corey Patterson getting on and creating havoc with his speed.
Well, when you looked at this lineup, there really was no specific leadoff hitter.
Right.
If Corey's going to fill that role, he's going to have to do it like he's done it tonight, with the occasional walk and bunting and forcing teams and doing things like that. He almost caused the 2nd error of the inning by the pitcher. He just missed throwing that one into right field.
Corey came in with an on-base percentage at 32%. In 6 plate appearances tonight, he's been on 4 times.
Well, he's also only led off a few games.
He's going, and that pitch high and tight. No chance for Johnson. And Patterson has a steal. That's his 17th. You've just got to keep pouring it on in this ballpark. 2 balls, no strikes. Runner at second now, 1 out. Shallow right center field. Walker and Burnitz converge. It'll be Larry Walker. There's the catch. Patterson will tag, and he will make it to third standing up with 2 outs. Here's Sosa. Barry Bonds leapfrogged past him last night on the all-time multi-homer game list. Sammy could tie him if he rips one here in the 9th inning. He thought about it and popped it down the right field line. Long run, Larry Walker still coming, and it's into the first row of seats.
This got the Cubs started. In a 4-1 game, Sammy got a fastball and hit it out. That tied it at 4, and it was bombs away after that.
0-1 your count. Runner at third, another run in for the Cubs. They've scored 9 the last 3 innings. Cue ball shot off the end of the bat. Looking ahead to the ninth for Colorado. Helton, Castilla, Burnitz, and then the pitcher's spot. Hawkins just about ready in the Cub pen. Well off the plate, 1-2. 10 runs, 15 hits for the Cubs. They've committed 2 errors. 7-10-1 for Colorado.
Pinky Tuscadero trying to get a good shot from Sammy Sosa. For all of you Happy Day fans.
Yeah, the Farns was already in the game too.
It's one of those nights. Will Tom Bosley be far behind? Most likely. You know, I did a game with him, by the way.
Yeah, you mentioned that. He was a nice man. He came up to sing, and that one gets past. That's going to score another run. Charles Johnson has not had the best of nights behind the plate tonight.
He hasn't had the best of years defensively. He's still swinging the bat okay. And we'll have to wait to see how that one scored. It's still 11-7 regardless of how it scored. And it scored a wild pitch. Watch it again. Charles can't be backhanding pitches. Watch this.
It hit the dirt when it was past him.
That's a pass ball. I mean, they can call it anything they want, but that's just a real bad job of catching.
And that's twice tonight. It's cost him runs both times. It scored Derek Lee in the second. It scores Patterson here in the ninth. And Sosa fouls it back. 3 balls, 2 strikes. So 2 more in the ninth. And that young man has been real impressive the last 3 games out of the leadoff spot.
And now they change the call to a pass ball.
Another pitch out of play. 15 plate appearances for Corey out of the leadoff spot. He's been on base in 8 of them. Not too shabby. 3 balls, 2 strikes again to Sosa. And he will go down on strikes. A productive ninth, a little insurance. Awfully nice to have in the Mile High City. Cubs 11, Colorado 7.
Gumbo? Oh, yeah. Here's how y'all go. You head down by the riverside. You'll see a giant bear eating a man. You go bump with it, bump. You see old dead stinking fish. Gonna be a dog there. Be foaming at the mouth. There y'all are.
Sometimes the road to adventure is paved. The 245 horsepower all-wheel drive Nissan Murano.
Forgot to warn about that hot sauce.
It's a hurricane warning, folks. Category 5. Severe coastal flooding instructions.
Grab whatever you can. Meet me back here. Vitamins.
What, you crazy, baby? Hey, baby doll.
No. We're gonna die.
At Supercuts, we
lead of 4 runs now. It's 11-7. And LaTroy Hawkins will face Todd Helton, Vinny Castilla, and Jeremy Burnitz.
And the Cubs have scored themselves out of a save situation for Hawkins. He's done a nice job, both as a setup man and now as the closer for the Cubs. The 4-run lead with the middle of their order is a lot more comfortable than it once was. So after being held to 1 run for 6 innings, the Cubs have exploded in the late innings against the Rockies. And they're trying to take the first 2 of not only this series, but the road trip. Give you an idea of how tough the Central is, and it is a pretty tough division this year. The Rockies don't have a winning record against any one of the 6 teams in the Central.
They're 8 under at 7-15 against the Central Division this year. And they are 3 outs away from losing 4 of 5 to the Cubs. Todd Helton digs in. He has had a frustrating night. Line drive out of play for a strike. Well, if they dare, Jarvis and Pryor will stride confidently to the mound tomorrow in the series wrap-up.
Last night's game was played in 2 hours and 15 minutes. So you figured that was a bit overly optimistic for a conclusion of a game in this ballpark. One of the shortest of the year, by the way.
5th shortest in the history of this ballpark. Officially 2 hours and 14 minutes. I'll tell you what, fans here get their money's worth as far as the time of game stat.
And a lot of folks still staying around for this.
Absolutely. One. It's a beautiful ballpark. It's just one that is going to feature offense. That's just the way it's going to work in this place. But the Cubs flex their muscles tonight. 2 balls and a strike. The count to Todd Helton. Line drive deep right field. That one's going to go. Solo home run for Helton. 3rd of the night for the Rockies. 2 off Farnsworth, 1 off Hawkins, and Castilla comes up.
And the 2 the Cubs scored in the 9th looking real big now.
Remember what we told you earlier in the game. Yesterday, all the offense came in the first 2 innings. We've seen at least 1 run from the 5th inning on tonight. And that one, a no-doubter. 25 home runs for Helton now. And here's Vinny Castilla. That got past him for a strike.
Vinny loves high fastballs. That one a little too high for him. And these guys squared off against one another over in the American League. Vinny was there briefly. Most of his career spent in the National League.
0-1 your count. Back toward us.
That didn't miss by much, but I was in great position to save you.
No question. Courage the Cowardly Lion sitting to my right. 2 RBIs for Castilla tonight. He's down 2 strikes. Down he goes swinging for the 2nd time. 1 away in the 9th.
Buck goes out of the strike zone and Castilla goes down swinging.
Jeremy Pernitz 0 for 2 with a couple of walks and a run scored. Luis Gonzalez grabs a bat. He would hit for the pitcher next.
Very durable fellow because he just had arm surgery in Arizona. It's obviously a different one.
Well, it would be news
especially if he hit right-handed.
Exactly right.
Pernitz has been held down pretty well in this series.
0 for 6, and he was one of their hottest hitters coming in. Cubs hoping the Phillies can hang on in San Diego tonight. They're in the 8th now. Phillies 7, Padres 5. A Cub win and a Padre loss puts the Cubs in first in the wild card. 1 ball, 1 strike to Burnitz. Line towards second, right at Gruntzelanic. 2 men out. Reds are leading the Giants 7-6 in the 6th. And Gonzalez, the final Colorado hope here in the 9th.
Gonzalez hitting an even 260. He's been pretty good off the bench this year. Got 4 pinch hits.
An 11-8 lead, 2 outs. Bases empty for Gonzalez. Strike 1. Jennings and Pryor tomorrow in the series wrap-up. Gonzalez, a Rule 5 pick from the Cleveland organization. Just 24 years of age. 0-1. 0-2 now. And that's about as cool as any manager can look in this ballpark, no matter the score, no matter the situation. Dusty's been in this place a lot. All those years with the Giants brought him to Colorado quite a bit. Cub fans on their feet. 2 strikes to Gonzalez.
Well, that one just missed. Dan Iasagna thought it was a touch wide.
The 1-2 pitch. Popped him up. Will it stay in play? Foul ground. Derek Lee has room, and the Cubs win it 11-8. What a ball game. This one was tough and tight until the 7th inning, Steve. The Cubs were down 4-1. They explode for 10 runs over the last 3 innings and hang on to beat the Rockies on their home turf and are now 4-1 over Colorado this year.
Well, most of the time, you are going to have to outscore this team here in Colorado. The Cubs were able to do it tonight. They did it with the long ball, and they did it with small ball. And Corey Patterson had a great night. A lot of the offense did, but Patterson keyed it with a couple of bunt hits, 3 overall with a walk and a stolen base. And Corey Patterson, our Hyundai player of the game, he started it off with a double, and he bunted his way into a big night here in Colorado. Speed never slumps, folks. Corey's got it in abundance.
He's 8 of 15 as far as on base is concerned since moving to the #1 spot in the order. And the Cubs, a very happy second game, win this one in a slugfest. 11-8 the final score. Chris and Dave will have plenty to wrap up on the Cubs post-game show. Steve and I will be digging in with Dusty Baker when we come back to Coors Field in Denver, Colorado.
All right, guys, and coming up on your ATA Cubs post-game show, Jamie Wright spent spring training with the Cubs and certainly pitched like he knew the lineup well. Sammy's big 7th inning swing not only made it a new ball game, it put him in the company of Mr. October. And aside from digging in with Dusty, we'll look forward to Mark Pryor's turn tomorrow as the Cubs seek 2 of 3. Chip, Steve, back to you.
Fox Sports Net's coverage of Chicago Cubs baseball is brought to you in part by Southwest Airlines. Over 2,800 nonstop daily flights to 60 destinations all across the country. Your Chicagoland Pontiac dealers. Heineken, it's all about the beer. Heineken. Comcast, proud to be Chicagoland's cable company. Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey. Nobody makes whiskey like Jack Daniel's. And by Hyundai. When your car comes with America's best warranty, you win. Hyundai.
Hyundai's winning streak summer clearance is now held over. Time is running out to save on the popular Hyundai Elantra. The Elantra costs $1,600 less than a Honda Civic LX when comparably equipped. And right now you get $1,500 cash back or 0% APR on every Elantra. Plus, Hyundai's award-winning quality is backed by America's best warranty. 10 years, 100,000 miles. So don't walk, run to Hyundai's winning streak summer clearance. Get a 2004 Hyundai Elantra with $1,500 cash back or 0% APR.
I want to see you.
2 years after the telephone was invented, a telephone company was born. 125 years of sweat, of building networks, of getting the job done. After 125 years, we are just getting started. SBC, going beyond the call.
Suarez, I have some good news. I'm taking you out.
Oh, you said you had good news.
I do. I just saved a bunch of money on my car insurance by switching to Geico. Give me the ball.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
You're watching Chevy Baseball Wednesdays, presented by your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Chevy dealers.
Now, this is the ATA Chicago Cubs postgame show, live from Fox Sports Net.
Swing and a high fly ball belted left center field. Back goes Holiday. That ball is gone. Ramirez puts the Cubs in front.
Welcome to the game, Sean Chacon.
Well, it took a while, but Coors Field turned into the ballpark we all know and sometimes love, depending on whether you're dishing out more punishment than you get. Welcome into the ATA Cubs postgame. Chris Bowden along with the lanky left-hander, Dave Otto, after this 11-8 Cubs victory over the Rockies. A pitching duel turned into home run derby. Without any further ado, let's go back to the yard. Bring in Chip and Steve, and they're digging in with Dusty. Guys, take it away.
All right, Chris, thank you very much. A wild one here at Coors Field. And Dusty Baker, before we get to home run derby, let's talk about small ball. You've waited all year long and have had to really juggle the top two spots in the order. You've got Corey Patterson and Nomar Garciaparra hitting first and second. I think you found a combination that's clicking very nicely.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Corey's getting on base. He's able to steal, at will. And Nomar, he fits in nicely in that second spot. But I tell you, boy, that was, last night's game. I mean, that never happens. So we weren't going to get away with another game like that.
Dusty, you've got a quick turnaround. We're not going to keep you very long, but you've managed a lot of games in this ballpark. You were in this division for a long time. How much patience does a manager have to have with his pitchers? Because in his ballpark, number one, no lead is safe, and number two, you can't decimate your bullpen when you know you don't have an off day.
Well, that's true. You'll go through your whole bullpen here, and that's why we stuck with Z, in that inning, and fortunately, he got another inning, gave up a run, but we just knew we were going to come back and score some more. And I tell you, early in the game, I was a little bit worried because we kept leaving runners on base. Every inning we had runners in scoring position off Jamie Wright, and 3 or 4 times we had a runner on second, nobody out, and didn't advance him and didn't get him home. But I tell you, our guys came through at the end. We scored 10 runs in the last 3 innings, and usually that gets it done, and we still barely won here.
Well, Dusty, Cubs fans everywhere enjoyed watching this team hit. I'd have enjoyed watching you hit in this place. How many would you taken out of Coors Field?
Oh, I don't know, man. That's a long time ago. I can't even think about it.
Well, hey, think about it tomorrow as Mark Pryor goes for the series sweep again. As always, thanks for your time tonight.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Big win for the Cubs. Lots of home runs, lots of excitement. And it'll be even more exciting, Stoney, if the Cubs can win their 4th straight tomorrow.
Thinking the Cubs over 100 games to try to figure out what's the best combination at 1 and 2. Right now, it looks awfully good with Corey Patterson, who, by the way, hits left-handers as well as he hits right-handers. Right now, he's bunting very well. And 1 and 2 with Patterson and Garciaparra, looking pretty good for the Cubs.
Yeah, you're looking on base percentage, guys. In 15 plate appearances in the #1 spot the last 3 games, Corey has reached 8 times. You'll take that every time out of the leadoff spot, and hopefully that'll continue in the series wrap-up in Denver tomorrow afternoon.
All right, thanks a lot, Chip. We'll let you rest your voice because you got to come right back here in 14 hours. But we want Steve to stick around and once again recap his keys to the game along with Dave Votto. It's been so long, Steve. I don't even know if I can remember your guys' keys.
Well, my key is easy to remember. What I said was, at the top, if Corey Patterson starts bunting and gets on base 4 times, no doubt it's going to key this offense. I felt that it would be tough early, but at the end, the offense would come to life, and that's how I remember it. Now, some of you might remember something else, like holding down Todd Helton. For the most part, they did hold him down. But Dave's key was a pretty good one tonight.
Well, thank you. And it's amazing that you did predict 2 bunt hits for Corey Patterson, which is just astounding. For me, Nomar Garciaparra, a terrific game, Stoney. And the one thing, and you guys alluded to it when you were talking to Dusty Baker, now all of a sudden, and granted, it's only a couple games in that leadoff spot. With Corey Patterson in that role now, it gives him an opportunity to lay down a couple of bunts, and you have one of the best hitters in all of baseball, and Nomar hitting right behind him.
Well, a couple of things, Dave, that will always hold true in baseball, and that is that although the pitching will come and go at times, it helps if it's good, and obviously the offense will come and go. But speed and defense are always going to come to the ballpark. Cubs don't have a lot of speed, but with Corey at the top, he can steal at will. He is the running attack. Derek Lee stole a base tonight, but Corey Patterson's really the key. If he does get on at the top, this offense is going to score a lot of runs.
Wow.
All right, Steve, thanks a lot for joining us. We'll let you get some rest on the quick turnaround as well.
See you guys later.
All right, take care. Steve Stone, and so we have much more to come on the Chevy Baseball Wednesday on Fox Sports Net. As we continue, more highlights from this 11-8 Cubs victory. Pitchers duel turned slugfest. Colorado jumping on its early opportunity against Carlos. Cubs didn't against Jamie Wright, forcing them to scale the comeback mountain in and against the Rockies.
Closed captioning on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Chevy dealers.
Polite society tells us that it's rude to stare. But then along came the 2005 V6 Nissan Altima. With a redesigned interior, a state-of-the-art navigation system and satellite radio, and a sleek, refined exterior. So go ahead, stare. Frankly, it'd be rude not to.
3 years ago, No Name Steak was created in a neighborhood butcher shop. People liked them so much it got us thinking, what else could No Name do?
Now, the styles of the No Name.
Introducing No Name Salmon, pork, chicken, and smoked meats. No Name butcher quality meats. Steak was just our appetizer.
Oh my gosh. Check out Phil's new cell phone.
Oh, wow. That's one of those phones that takes pictures. Photo op. Be sexy. Smile with your eyes.
It's enough to bring out the supermodel in anyone.
Come into US Cellular now and buy one LG camera phone and get a second LG camera phone absolutely free. Easy to snap, easy to share. US Cellular, we connect with you.
It's all about freedom to see clearly, to be at the top of your sport, the top of your profession, at the top of the world. It's freedom, brought to you by Kraft Laser Vision Correction. No one can match the Kraft Eye Institute and Laser Vision experience or results. Why trust your eyes to anyone else? The Kraft Eye Institute. It's freedom to see, to do, to be your best. Call Kraft today and see how far freedom can take you.
To keep up on Chicago sports, order the Chicago Sun-Times with home delivery. Just call 888-84-TIMES. The Chicago Sun-Times, the bright one.
Well, after that 5-run second inning last night, the Cubs scored just 1 run over the next 13 innings. Then they started putting up a whole bunch of crooked numbers up on the Coors Field scoreboard. Let's fasten our seatbelts.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
Chin strap.
Take a deep breath and let's go to the highlights. Carlos Zambrano on the hill, game number 2, Cubs and Rockies. Bottom of the first is Carlos coming off that great effort against Milwaukee. Early trouble, man on first. Royce Clayton, not the hitter this season we've known him to be. Came in hitting .281 down the right field line, and Aaron Miles, who was hit to lead off the game, comes around to score.
Yeah, real good piece of hitting early on. Zambrano strong at the beginning, just a high sinker, and Clayton went the other way with it.
After a Todd Helton walk, Vinny Castilla steps up and execute Aramis Ramirez's only play is to first, and Clayton would score for a 2-0 lead. And we head now to the top of the second. Todd Walker is up with 1 out. Derek Lee on first. D-Lee goes, puts himself in scoring position. This would set up something even better.
Cubs did a lot of nice things tonight. Base running wise, you know, there was 1 pickoff, but stolen base there. And because of that, on this wild pitch or pass ball, Derek Lee scores all the way from second to get the Cubs going.
That was about the only bad thing Jamie Wright did all night with that wild pitch. Bottom 3, some defense with the score still 2-1. Helton with the shallow fly toward the line. It's either Nomar or Moises, and a Lou with a fine catch.
You know, outs are so valuable at Coors Field that anytime you can make a great play like that, boy, that's a huge pick-me-up for your club.
Top 4, Todd Walker on first after a leadoff walk. Michael Barrett grounds to Aaron Miles. Flips to Royce Clayton. Nice break up there by Todd Walker. Doesn't show up in the box score.
Absolutely. Got a great jump on that, and also a great play by Royce Clayton to almost get Michael Barrett. That extends the innings.
And Carlos Zambrano certainly does his job executing, laying down the great sacrifice. So now there are 2 outs, but Barrett's still on second base. Corey Patterson would walk, putting the runners on first and second. The Feldco window of opportunity for Nomar. He hits it hard, but right to Todd Helton, and that would close the inning. The Cubs still trailing 2-1. Then we go to the bottom of the 4th, and Carlos starts dealing.
Well, he really did. He started throwing the ball well, and in 6 innings work, gave up just 4 runs. And I'll tell you what, you sprint out of the ballpark, only giving up 4 runs at that park.
And here he jams Helton to start the 5th inning, getting out the pop out. But the next batter, Castilla, would deliver, ripping the pitch to to left, and that brings Miles in 3-1.
Yeah, just a high sinker for Zambrano. Pretty good fastball tonight. Had a good slider also. A couple good split finger fastballs also. But again, quick infield, ball jumps out of there. And here's a balk move here from Jamie Wright. We talked about the base running. Overall, the Cubs well on the base paths tonight. However, here, Derek Lee gets picked off.
Very clearly back in, though, before the tag, and Charlie Relaford thought otherwise.
Yep.
And we check out the replay. We saw that he was in. So it's still a 3-1 ball game. And then with a runner on third in the 6th, the line drive off Aramis Ramirez's glove scores Holiday. That with Larry Walker at the plate. Top of the 7th, 2 on for Sammy. And we got a little bit of history here in that he moves in a tie for 8th on the all-time home run list with Reggie Jackson. We also have ourselves a new ball game. And the next hitter, Aramis Ramirez, up at the plate after Miles got hit by a pitch early, and then they came in close with Sosa. The automatic ejection here with Doman with that pitch coming inside to Aramis. Didn't even hit him, but Clint Hurdle would get ejected along with his pitcher. Todd Walker would then come up on the next play, drive it to right center field, and Aramis able to bring it all the way in, and the Cubs have themselves a lead.
Yeah, Steve Reed coming in relief of Doman and gives up 3 straight hits, and the big one off the bat of Todd Walker.
Later in the 7th, Corey Patterson comes up, bags loaded. He could not add to that lead, so the inning ends. Cubs still up 5-4. Bottom 7, Kyle Farnsworth has his difficulties tonight.
We're going to see another home run off Kyle Farnsworth. 3 batters faced, 2 home runs.
Mark Sweeney getting the home run there on a pinch hit. Top of the 8th, though, score 6-5. Cubs tied. Garciaparra on third. Actually, the Cubs didn't tie it. Sean Chacon just gave it to him. The wild pitch there. 2nd run scored tonight off the wild pitch. Next pitch, Aramis goes deep. That's number 23 on the year. A solo blast. And once again, we're playing tug of war, and the Cubs back on top by a score of 7-6. They wouldn't relinquish it this time, though, because still in the 8th, man on first, 2 out. Todd Walker hits number 13 on the year.
The Cubs scored 10 runs in the last 3 innings.
Farnsworth still in as we head now to the bottom of the 8th, and more long ball trouble. Charles Johnson taking him deep there, and we have ourselves a 9-7. The only good thing about that? Nobody on base, so the Rockies drawing to within 2. But then Mike Remlinger helped get out of the jam. Little footwork. He's playing goalie there, and that bounces very conveniently into the double play.
That was big because Remlinger took charge of that ball game.
There's your final score, 11-8, as the Cubs would add a couple of runs in that 9th inning. Another long ball for the Rockies, Helton in particular off of LaTroy Hawkins in the 9th, but finally it was over with after that snappy 2-hour and 14 last night. We went about, what, 3 hours and 40 minutes tonight. 11-8, the Cubs with the final 2 in a row for them, 7 of 9 overall, and they'll go for the sweep tomorrow. When we come back on our ATA Post, our auto motto is to take an even closer look at the whys and where you think Corey Patterson should settle in the Cubs lineup via our poll question. Stay with us.
This summer, get ready to experience the toughness of one machine in this year's one big blockbuster event. Ford authorized clearance. Now get Ford F-150 with 0% financing for 60 months or $4,000 cash back plus $1,000 clearance cash. Plus get a 5.4-liter Triton V8 and trailer tow package on the all-new F-150 at no charge. Ford authorized clearance. Now playing for a limited time.
Invite you to a little bake sale. Fares from $59 to Florida. Any of our Florida destinations from just $59. Sunshine from $59. A great low fare from the airline that makes Florida easier.
So I'm gonna go easy, go ATA. I'm gonna go easy, go ATA. What do you want from your movies?
More adventure.
More fun for the whole family.
More dancing.
More. I think that about covers it.
Want more from your movies? Blockbuster gives you more ways to get it. Like the Blockbuster Movie Pass. Watch all the movies you want with no due dates and no extended viewing fees. Get your first month for just $14.99. Now, more savings, more ways. More from Blockbuster.
I want more.
30 years ago, a neighborhood butcher created a cut of steak that was tender every time. All that was left to do was come up with a name.
Oh.
No name steaks, tender every time.
When it starts showing up in video games, don't let the needle-pushing T5 Turbo performance mess with your mind. It's still built like a Volvo. Introducing the all-new Volvo S40.
On our pregame Buick poll question, we asked you, where should Corey Patterson hit in the Cubs lineup? You logged on to fsnchicago.com just as we asked, and you voted, and the vote is in. Maybe some influence based on the way tonight's game unraveled a little bit, but certainly the majority of folks, the vast majority of folks, over 3/4 thinking that Corey should be put in that first spot in the lineup, followed by 7th, 8th, and 2nd. You know, we indicated in the pregame that over the last 3 seasons, Corey's hit .275 when hitting in that leadoff spot, compared to .246 in the 2nd spot. Dusty Baker made the Lou Brock comparison. I don't know how wise that is, but, you know, it certainly didn't hurt tonight, at least in terms of potential for what Corey can do. What we don't see in that .275 career leadoff averages on base percentage, which they need significantly higher out of Corey. But after what we saw tonight, you know, out of Corey Patterson, it seems like things are starting to click in, and he's starting to get it.
You know, overnight, you're not all of a sudden going to lay off that high pitch.
Right.
And all of a sudden, you're not going to have all these deep counts. But at the same time, Nomar changed this lineup significantly. That is a quality #2 hitter. When you have somebody like Nomar hitting behind you, it takes the pressure off you. Now, all of a sudden, when you are in that leadoff spot, you know your role, and what you're going to do is lay down a couple of bunts. Corey's never going to run into an 0 for 30 slump because he always has that bunt in his back pocket. The other thing I like now is Alou is hitting 3rd. And if Corey gets on, then Alou can afford to take a couple of pitches to give Corey a chance. He has more of a chance of taking a few pitches and still putting the ball in play as opposed to Sammy. That's not a knock on Sammy, but having him 4th it just makes the lineup that much better. So hopefully Dusty Baker will be able to stick with this, because right now it's clicking on all 4 cylinders or 6 cylinders.
Yeah, and Corey's going to have obviously more pitches to hit now. With, as you mentioned, with Garciaparra right behind him, they have to be more careful with him, and you know that dovetails nicely into the rest of the lineup. It's
Yeah,
just,
you
the
don't,
dominoes start falling.
Exactly. There's only so many pitches in a lineup, and you might make a ton of mistakes. And when you have that type of lineup, you're going to get hurt against the Cubs.
He's gotten more discipline at the plate after a rough stretch there in May and early June. We started seeing that discipline, and now we're starting to see it pay off in terms of his batting average and hits. What was it about Jamie Wright? He spent the spring in Mesa with the Cubs, seeing this lineup day in and day out. I don't know how much of a factor that was. He didn't make the final cut, but this is 3 strong outings in as many appearances for the Rockies.
You know what I like about the Cubs, they have that propensity to score late in the ball game. But early on against Jamie Wright, I did a great job. You know, it was about 6'5". He has a good downward angle to the plate. And early on, the Cubs had a tough time laying off some pitches, some pretty tough pitches. A couple sliders to a Lou. And when I saw Wright a couple of years ago, it was primarily a big breaking ball. He's tightened up that breaking ball, which you have to do at Coors Field. So early on, the Cubs were stymied, and one of the best pickoff moves in all of baseball, and you're going to see it here. We saw it in the highlights. And a lot of times, you're just getting your lead, and Derek Lee with the 2-foot lead right there, he wasn't even into a stretch position or a set position. Derek Lee was safe here, but again, you know, close play like that sometimes goes against you. But overall, Jamie Wright threw the ball well. 5 1/3 innings pitched, 1 run, but the story of tonight's ball game was that Cubs offense, because you might get through that Cubs offense, that lineup a couple of times, but late, the Cubs scoring 10 runs in the last 3 innings.
Lots of crooked numbers, as we said. Okay, it's getting pretty late. Our closer's warming up in the pen on our Chevy Baseball Wednesday. When we return, we'll check around the National League and a look ahead to tomorrow, when Pryor looks to be back on his mark.
You've been waiting all year for this moment to arrive. The one and only clearance at your Lincoln Mercury dealer. A short time when you can get the best savings of the year on every Lincoln and Mercury, including Mercury Mountaineer with an available power moonroof and no charge left.
Selection. We created No Name Steaks that were such a hit it got us thinking, what else could No Name do? Introducing a new full line of No Name meats. Steak was just our appetizer.
You broke it off. Ooh. Dad!
5:30, 6:30, whatever you say. Right on the money. That would be excellent. Absolutely.
Okay, I think your turn is up.
But this is the only place I can get a good signal on my cell phone.
Mister, don't make me come up there.
Jerry, I think I'm going to lose you.
Need a better network? Switch to US Cellular and take our Best Network Challenge for 30 days. Then you'll be sure it's the best network for you. It's one more way we connect with you. US Cellular.
Hey fans, ever dreamed of being a sportscaster? Presenting the Sam Adams Sportscaster for a Day contest. Fox Sports Net and Sam Adams are teaming up to send one lucky winner to serve as a sportscaster during the Northsiders September trip to Florida. To find out how to enter and where you'll need to go to try out, log on to fsnchicago.com or head to samadams.com and click on Chicago Baseball Broadcaster Tryouts. You could be a sportscaster for a day. Brought to you by Fox Sports Net and Sam Adams. Always a good decision.
Sundays at 10 p.m. it's Chicago Baseball Extra. A full half-hour look at the week that was with expert analysis from Joe Girardi and Ron Kittle. Chicago Baseball Extra, presented by Coldwell Banker Residential Brokerage. Sundays at 10 on Fox Sports Net.
Introducing a delicious twist on ordinary chicken salad. Arby's Market Fresh Chicken Salad. Try a sandwich, a wrap, or a bowl. One great chicken salad, 3 ways to enjoy it.
A memo went out. Did you get it? It's calling for an end to individuality. It says that movies should be formulaic. It demands a style be ordinary. And sedans, well, they should just blend in. No leather interiors or navigation systems or powerful V6 engines. Funny, we never got that memo.
Well, welcome back. Cubs and Rocks close it out with a mountain matinee tomorrow. The last guy any of us expect to be riding some ups and downs heading into the season. Mark Pryor, but with the ailments he's battled, maybe those expectations have been a little unfair, but he's been swapping solid outings with shaky ones of late, Dave.
Well, you saw Mark Pryor last August turn up a notch after the injury, and hopefully that'll be the case with Pryor. Pryor last time out, real flat with all of his pitches against the Phillies, giving up 6 runs and a little over 4 innings of work. Tough to throw the breaking ball at Coors Field. Hopefully he'll mix in a couple of changeups tomorrow. There's a good live fastball there, but needs to get back to that good downward angle. It's been every other outing for Pryor, and that's usually the case in somebody coming off injuries. Hopefully he'll be crisp tomorrow.
He'll be up against Jason Jennings. Strong his last 2 outings. Granted, it's against Arizona, but 2 runs over 15 innings.
And a good outing against the Cubs at Wrigley Field earlier in the year. Turbo sinker, keeps the ball down. Good stuff. High walk total, however. So hopefully the Cubs can lay off that low fastball and get one of those high sinkers.
And Jason Jennings, the guy Pryor will be up against tomorrow. Now, taking a look across the board in the National League, St. Louis, a home run from who else? Albert Pujols in the 9th inning. 5-4 the final there. And Alex Gonzalez had a big game in his debut, or his game for the Expos tonight. 3 hits, 2 stolen bases, but again, they fall short. San Diego loses, so the Cubs atop the wild card. For Dave Otto and our staff, thanks for staying up with us tonight. Cubs 11-8 winners. I'm Chris Bowden. Have yourself a good night and morning.
The following is a paid commercial program.
We're here at Arlington Park, Illinois.
And they're off in the inaugural running of the Arlington Million.
Cigar is an unstoppable dynamo.
And Henry did get his nose in front.
Got your finger by about 10 lengths.
The Triple Crown winner, Secretariat.
An Arlington Million champion and a thrilling photo finish.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Thoroughbred Today on the 4th of August, the 61st day of racing here at Arlington Park, and we are under very cloudy skies, damp conditions here as we are off the turf for races 6 and 8. And John Dooley, a sloppy track, babe.
Christine, obviously it hasn't dampened your spirits here today. Christine just full of fire for the Wednesday program. 9 races on tap here today. We are off the turf. Featured 8th race really quick, Christine. The Lottie Miss Claudie Purse, that is off the turf. Morning line favorite Ms. Ladonia. 2nd in her last start, the Purple Violet, but that was a disqualified 2nd to 4th. Chris Amy picks up the mount today from Christine Jenks. That's our off the turf feature number 8.
And don't forget this weekend, it's the Sia Aaron Handicap. And of course, that will be our feature race on Saturday, John. But let's go see how these 2-year-old fillies do in the opener here. First half of the early daily double.
Heavy overnight rains in Chicago have left us sloppy. Race number 1 is a $25,000 maiden claimer, 2-year-old fillies. We have 9 in line going 5 1/2 furlongs. Note those scratches, the 2 and 6. 9 to 5 favorite is the 7 Cannabelle with now journeyman jockey Jimmy Graham. Weighing and running at Arlington. An awkward start there for Cannabelle, who appeared to stumble coming out of there. A much brighter beginning for this newcomer. Next cat, and here's Pete Sonny showing speed, and Bowl Passage is right there too with blinkers on. So Bowl Passage comes up now to next cat at the rail is Pete Sonny. Emily's Emerald is a close 4th as they go past the half-mile pole. 3 more lengths back to Lady Be Fast, who's 5-6 from these leaders. Then comes Vaccination. Delivery Cart is running at this off-track rail. Quite a separation back there to debuting Yo Capiche, and running wide, Cannabelle is last of all. 23 and 2 the opening quarter. Sloppy track this as they come toward the quarter pole. It's Emily's Emerald, the 3 wide filly, and between horses. Next cat, Bowl Passage at the rail. Pete Sonny now being outpaced in 4th. Delivery Cart is switched off the rail. A good move that, top of the stretch. A half in, 48 and 4, just above the 8th pole. Brian Peck and Bowl Passage in front of Emily's Emerald. Delivery Cart. Next cat has dropped back, and here's Cannabelle splashing home down the middle of the track. They're coming inside the final half a furlong. Delivery Cart and Cannabelle, yards to go. Larry Sterling Jr. and Delivery Cart to win the 1 o'clock opener. Cannabelle coming from last to 2nd. Bowl Passage, Emily's Emerald, and Vaccination. In her last start, Delivery Cart, the Equibase program comment read, stumbled, nearly fell. Such was the case today for the runner-up filly, the 7 Cannabelle, who was a victim of the break. Watch her next time out. Cannabelle, a good try after that start. Delivery cart, though, under Larry Sterling Jr. to key the superfecta, worth $1,856.20. She's owned by Jake Bryant's JB Stables, trained by Pam Little. Her maiden win on the off-track in 109 flat. So Cannabelle certainly one to watch out of the first as we crack on to race number 2. Starts with the early pick 4. We are stopping for this. A $15,000 claimer for 3-year-old, 6 furlong, 7 run. Note those scratches, numbers 1, 6, and 9. 3 to 5 on the son of Boston Harbor. That's Wings on Springs with Emmanuel Cosme.